Of resilience and optimism for a better future. Call this hope. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning to the rest of the world. Welcome to Tuesday. It's the 9th day of June 2026. And this is Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Sunrise is the morning show that wakes up with you, that is thinking with you, laughing with you, of course. And when Ghana is giving you drama, it is asking you the hard questions. When the country is giving you trouble. My name is Noble Crosby Ann, and I'm very, very glad that you're here with us. An interesting day promises to be this morning because of news from yesterday. Yesterday into this morning, Ghana has been talking. And when Ghana talks, you know it's never one conversation. There's a blend of anger, humor, there's frustration everywhere, politics in between. And the usual, hey, Ghana sitting quietly in some one corner. Awards. Yes, awards. Not music awards, not sports awards, but awards for public officials. For the past few days, many Ghanaians have been asking, who is awarding who? And for what exactly? On whose scorecard? The latest is that the presidency has now stepped in, directing ministers, state CEOs, political appointees, but not to accept private awards without clearance, in essence. And for many, the reaction is simple. And all they are saying is that finally the president is talking about this. Because the public think that public service is not supposed to be a red carpet industry. It is supposed to be about work, delivery, discipline, and results. Then there's the painful matter of buildings coming down at Denta, Avena North Industrial Area, different locations, same national anxiety. We're talking about buildings right now. Preliminary findings from the Adenta building collapse, revealing what you and I thought. Some deficiencies here and there, some lack of enforcement here and there, and all of those are captured in the preliminary findings. And the preliminary findings is coming from some industry players, some agencies. I'm talking about some engineer groups who have sat and analyzed the situation and have come out with this report. So this morning we'll be talking about the report briefly. We'll tell you what the findings are saying, how disturbing they are, how come this building was left to stand. While the building was there and construction was ongoing, people were still adding more floors to the building. So this is a joint technical committee report releasing preliminary findings on the Medina building collapse. And the preliminary findings was made by a committee comprising structural engineering specialists, statutory representatives from the structural subdivision of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. There's also the Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana, the Architecture Registration Council. All of these groups came together to release this report. Some disturbing findings here and there. And while we're talking about that this morning, it is worthy for you to note that the Ghana Meteo is warning us that a moderate rainstorm currently over Togo and Benin is expected to move steadily towards westward across Ghana, inducing cloudiness and producing thunderstorms with or without rain of varying intensities over parts of the country. So this is a weather warning for you. Ghana Met says the rainstorm will be accompanied by moderate to strong winds. Point 2 is that localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas are likely to occur. Again. There's a caution here that fisherfolk and motorists are urged to exercise extreme caution during this period. So there you have it. Protect yourself as you step out. If you're out of your house or your home already, just be careful. I'll quickly take you through 3news.com. So we'll get to know some of the stories that are being reported there. Accra Tema motorway blocked as fuel tanker fire leaves one dead. That's according to the Ghana National Fire Service as it deploys 3 tenders. This story is captured on 3news.com. And the detail of the story is that a fuel tanker has caught fire on the Accra Tema motorway just before the underbridge, prompting a swift emergency response from the Ghana National Fire Service. The 3 fire tenders have been dispatched to the scene to combat the blaze and prevent further damage. In a grim development, a burnt body has been retrieved from one of the vehicles involved in the incident, raising fears of additional casualties as firefighters continue to work at the scene. Fuel tank on fire, the Accra Tema motorway, burnt body retrieved as 3 fire tenders have been deployed there to help bring the situation under control. And this is news coming in just this morning. We'll get details in the bulletin. This is coming 4 hours ago. We'll try and reach the fire service and get some more details with regards to this disturbing development. But you can get the details of the story on 3news.com. Also this morning on 3news.com, President highlights agriculture as a central pillar of Ghana's development agenda. Armed men in Akontam mining branded vehicles held forestry officials, chiefs hostage at Tano Nimri Forest Reserve. That's a disturbing story. Armed men in Akontam mining branded... They were in Akontam mining branded vehicles. They held forestry officials, chiefs hostage at Tano Nimri Forest Reserve. Investigator tells the court. The detail of the story is that the investigator in the illegal mining case against NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Wuntumi's Akontam Mining has told the Accra High Court that armed men led by former general manager in Akontam Mining branded vehicles accosted the held officials from the Forestry Commission hostage until seized equipment were returned to them. And the investigator is the prosecution's second witness in the illegal mining case against Akontam Mining and 2 others. The quartet have been charged with illegally mining in a forest reserve, facilitating illegal mining operations and building mining structures in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve in the Western region. There's some more details to the story on 3news.com. You can log on and read them. Also this morning, we'll take you to the Ashanti region, bringing you some updates from news about the Komfuanochi Teaching Hospital, CATH. If you're in Kumasi, you know the hospital as G. Patients are stranded as CATH doctors and nurses protest CEO suspension. We'll get to the details from our Ashanti regional correspondent. Also this morning, by way of information, the Electricity Company of Ghana has announced widespread power outages for Tuesday, June 9, 2026, affecting communities in the Eastern Tema, Accra East, Accra West, Volta, and Ashanti regions, with a combination of planned maintenance exercises and fault-related disruptions. In the eastern region, planned maintenance will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It will affect Pikiku, Mamekrobo, Tiase. There's Fori there, Donko Kro, Mamankwa, Eche, Adjaso, Brubing, and surrounding areas. In the Tema region, the planned maintenance will run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., affecting communities 3 and 5. New York, Switzerland, Aviation, Lashibi, High Tension, Celebrity Golf Club, Sakumano Estates, Chopoli, Agoto, Shilo, Luta. A lot of some other areas will also be affected. In the Accra East region, the planned maintenance will run from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., affecting parts of Nanakrom, Little Roses. There's Akopam, Boy, Ashoman, Bank of Ghana, and surrounding areas. So if you live in and around these areas, just prepare yourself. From 10 to 4 p.m., that's what we understand. Of course, in the Accra West region, planned maintenance will run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., affecting Dakuman, Kokumpe, Israel Park, Israel Filling Station, Aigbe Junction, and surrounding areas as well. There'll be some updates as well in the Volta region. Planned maintenance will run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., affecting parts of Akachi Town, Avet Town, Georgie, and surrounding areas as well. So now you know, now you're armed, you can charge your phones and get ready. Right about now, let's get into the paper review segment, starting with this paper, the Observer newspaper. And these are the stories that are captured on the front page of the Observer newspaper. It says that responsible mining key to protecting water bodies and forests, according to Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boa. That's on page 3 of the paper. Also, Finance Minister Governor present powerful unified case for Ghana to global financiers and investors. Also on the front page, Mahama, Ghana to deepen agricultural cooperation with Belarus on page 4. And NPA commemorates World LPG Day 2026. Commits to expand access and improve safety. These are the stories you'd get on page 4 of the Observer newspaper. Also, GRA assures businesses of simpler tax compliance on ITAS. GRA assures businesses of simpler tax compliance on ITAS. Quickly, to the Spider newspaper on the front page. No more award show ministers. Mahama bans appointees from private honors without approval. Africa unveils phase 3 drive to cut smoking and boost revenue. Also, $300 million World Bank cash to kill double track system. Government targets end of SHS shift system as $250 million goes into massive infrastructure expansion. This morning, the Spider newspaper is reporting, I deserved it, Accra Minister Defense Award. President Mahama strikes 3 major deals with Belarus to boost trade, agric, and investment. I'll take you quickly to the Archives newspaper. The front page says Ghana's mining sector at a crossroads, policy certainty imperative. That's according to APL. And men's sperm quality declining. A urologist is warning. NDC chairmanship race heats up. Scenario upon Fosu and Vanderpoy emerge as front runners. NDC chairmanship. I see. These are the stories you get on the front page of the Archives newspaper. Finally, is the New Republic newspaper. It says that ZPay collapses in Barbados, exposes a web of debt, lawsuit, and state probes. Also, Haruna crackdown on GTEC, a direct mafia ring to reverse Galamsey appointments in colleges of education. NPA targets 50% LPG by 2030. Ghana targets oil export. A Central refinery commences local crude refinery. These are some of the stories you'd get on the front page of the New Republic newspaper this morning.
3FM Sunrise.
Sunrise on 3FM.
And this morning, beginning our discussion is in the Ashanti region. As we understand, patients have been left stranded at the outpatient department of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi as doctors and nurses reportedly refused to attend to new cases in protest over the suspension of the hospital's chief executive officer. And the situation has triggered widespread disruption at one of Ghana's largest referral health facilities, with patients and relatives struggling to access medical care. William Evanzinkum, he's a Northern Bureau Chief, is joining us from Kumasi to update us on the latest happenings at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Evans, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Crosby.
I hope you're well, sir.
Well, we are doing well, and I hope you're also doing well as well.
Well, we are managing. What is happening at CAF? What is the latest?
Well, nothing has changed. The latest as of 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. yesterday was that the embattled chief executive had written to his colleagues to resume work fully, but they are yet to. And the thing is that I have been engaging some of the doctors why they haven't heeded to the advice of their colleagues, so to speak, and of course the chief executive. But what they said was that this particular industrial action goes beyond the suspension of the chief executive. For them, the chief executive is an appointee. So if the employer decides to take an action on him, there's little that they can do. But the primary concern has to do, the nucleus of the current situation has to do with the fact that there's pressure on Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, which is affecting quality health delivery as far as their operation is concerned. And they want to see a clear commitment by the government in completing the two major hospitals which have been stalled for years, and they are making reference to the Sewia and the Afari military hospital. In fact, they said yes, even though their engagement with the regional minister was very fruitful, but they want to see clear timelines so that they know that, well, even if it is 2026 that these hospitals will come into the mainstream, is it September? Is it October? Is it November? That is what they want to know. So that is the current situation here at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Crosby.
I see. So as we speak, the strike is still in force?
Absolutely, it is. They are attending to critical cases, inpatients. They are also attending to those cases. And then those on waiting list, they are also scheduled for meeting or, any other medical service delivery.
Evans, you are in the Ashanti region. We understand the hospital management in a meeting told, they made it aware that people should go to the surrounding facilities, nearby facilities to access medical care. Around the Konfanochi, the Kolebu Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, I beg your pardon, Evans, around that area, what are the facilities surrounding them and what is their capacity, if you know?
All right, so there are a number of private and then public facilities, and those were the very facilities that the doctors were making reference to. So let me use my place as an example. Kwadaso has two facilities. One is a mission, that is the Adventist hospital, and of course you also have the Sontreso hospital. So these were the places that the doctors were suggesting that the public would seek medical care, and the plan was that, from their perspective, the plan was that because the accident and emergency center is full, and of course they also have excess cases which has been placed on pending list that they are attending to. It will be very difficult for them to attend to any other case because their hands are full. In fact, yesterday I engaged Dr. Leeds, And what he told me is what I'm telling you. It was very difficult for them to work on any other emergency case that probably will be coming through, because the president has also directed that no case should be left unattended to, especially when a person comes to the hospital. But they also have a situation which has to do with the fact that they are overwhelmed with the number of cases. So their advice was that any new case that is coming and it is not urgent, maybe the person should seek medical care in any of the available health facilities. If it is a case that, it needs some level of an advanced care, that particular health worker or that particular doctor who is taking care of that particular case will just place a call to Confanochi Teaching Hospital for referral. And at that point, they will know that this particular case is very critical, and for that matter, they need to attend to. So that was the basis, according to Dr. Leeds, on which the first statement was issued. But they think that, it was misinterpreted, and then the action afterwards also did not help matters, especially from the Ministry of Health. Crosby.
I see. Evans, thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
Thank you.
William Evans Inkum is our Northern Bureau Chief, updating us on the happenings at the Confanochi Teaching Hospital there.
3FM Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Grievances of the health professionals were understandable. Patients in urgent need of care should not be made to suffer as a result of their dispute. He criticized the handling of the suspension of the CEO of the hospital, arguing that the response from the health minister was unnecessarily harsh. According to him, a more measured approach would have been preferred given the circumstances surrounding the situation. He further stressed that resolving the standoff requires dialogue rather than escalation, urging all stakeholders to engage constructively in order to restore normal operations of the hospital as quickly as possible. He also encouraged government to consider interim arrangement with private health facilities to reduce pressure on the public system during periods of industrial action. So that is what we know from the Confanochi Teaching Hospital, and this is from the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital. I'm talking about the suspended CEO, Dr. Pa Kwesi Baidu. He appealed to the striking nurses and the doctors to return to work. This is a statement. It says, "I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all staff of the hospital for your show of solidarity with me during this period. I am very grateful for your support. However, I need you all to return back to duty in the supreme interest of Ghanaians and our valued patients, whilst I defer the outcome and directions to the supreme wisdom of the Honorable Minister of Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, and the board of the Confanochi Teaching Hospital. I remain committed to the cause of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana." This is a regular statement, but it is of interest to me because of an adjective I saw, and that's in the, yes, it is in this paragraph. It says, "I defer the outcome and directions to the, quote, supreme wisdom of the Honorable Minister of Health." Maybe I'm just reading meanings into this, but Kujo, good morning, Senior. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Good morning, Rotary.
You had a good night?
Yes, and a very lovely weekend. It's been, the weather has been a bit chilly, so
yeah,
it's been exciting. But I think over the weekend too, a lot has happened. Yes, and even as of yesterday, a lot was happening.
Ghana does not sleep.
And this morning, a lot is still happening. I'm hearing about another fire outbreak, which I'm sure the news team will catch up on soon, so we can have some details on. And the issues of CATH. You know, I'm very passionate about CATH, the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Yes. Somewhere around the same time last year,
Right.
you know, there was an unfortunate incident that involved one Dr. Ofori, who died tragically because of the lack of adequate equipment at CATH. And one would have thought, fast forward, that problem would even have been resolved, you know. You beg to ask if it has. And it still hasn't. So there's no doubt that our doctors work under very constrained conditions.
They do.
I mean, it is in the nature of their job.
Right.
They always deal with emergencies. So some way, somehow, they are able to even manage the constraints and do their very best, as we have seen over the years.
Right.
You know. The health of the nation is the wealth of the nation. So, doctors, we thank you for all you do.
Right.
We appreciate you. But you took an oath also, you know, to care for us.
Right.
We who don't have the gifts, the wonderful gifts God has bestowed upon you. You know, the wonderful hands. So we, the citizenry, who are sometimes patients in your hospitals, in your wards, we are only appealing to your conscience.
Right.
That
Go back to work, please.
yes, you go back to work.
Anyways. Happening this morning, and this is about a few hours ago, about 4 hours ago, was a report, and Kay, you mentioned it, about some fire, a fuel tanker tipper truck crash, sparking fatal fire on the Accra-Tema motorway. Alex Kinati is a member of the Public Relations Department of the Ghana National Fire Service. Alex, good morning to you.
Good morning, Crosby.
What do we know about this incident? Where has it happened, and what is the situation now?
Okay, so around late hours of 11 p.m., we received a random call that when someone ran to the station to report of an incident. So we quickly attended to the scene, and upon arrival, our team at Motorway were the first to get there. They realized that it was a head-on collision involving a fuel tanker and a tipper truck. Unfortunately, the head of the tipper truck got dislodged off the truck itself, thereby trapping the driver in the fire. Unfortunately, he got burnt beyond recognition. So we just retrieved the body. There were 3 other people who were rescued and have been sent to the Tema General Hospital for treatment. I must say they are in a very dire condition. We are hoping they pull through. But so far, we have just one death, which is the driver of the tipper truck, who unfortunately got burnt beyond recognition.
I see. And what is the condition of the road now? What is the situation on the road now? The vehicles have been removed?
So the vehicles have not been removed. There's a bit of congestion on the road. The reason why the vehicles have not been removed yet is that with the fuel tanker, even though there was fire and we had to quench it, there's still some fuel load, a lot of fuel load left in the tanker. So we'll have to get another fuel tanker to now do the transfer of the fuel onto that one before we can safely clear the road. So for now, those coming from Accra towards the Ashaman way of the motorway might experience some inconvenience, but we are working hard to make sure that we clear the road and make it accessible for everyone.
And it brings me to my next question. Do we have an idea? This is a road, and it's a weekday. It's early in the week. People would use it very frequent, the traffic would be bad. Do we have an idea when we are able to remove the vehicles, dislodge the fuel and all of that?
Well, unfortunately, Fire Service doesn't have some of these recovery trucks. We don't have the fuel tanker. We'll have to. Yeah, we've contacted the operations commander at STEMA has contacted the fuel companies for a tanker. So it all depends on how fast they're able to get us an empty tank, so we're able to do safely do the transfer of the fuel. But we will be on standby to make sure that it is devoid of any further obstacles. But I'm sure that before the end of the day, we should be able to finish with that exercise.
I see. Mr. Nati, thank you so much for bringing us those updates.
You're very much welcome.
Alex Kinati is a member of the Public Relations Department of the Ghana National Fire Service, and this is in relation to what we now know happened in the late hours of yesterday, a fatal crash between a tipper truck and a fuel tanker that has now left one person, unfortunately, as a fatality. Some other people are in dire and critical conditions at the Tema Hospital. That is what we know concerning that. Into the news. It had to do with the participation of government appointees in award schemes. The controversy followed the 6th Ghana Ministers of State Excellence Award that was held on Saturday, June 6, 2026, where some government officials were honored. The Greater Accra Regional Minister was named Best Regional Minister. Emmanuel Amakofibua, Land and Natural Resources Minister, was named Best Male Performing Minister. There were some other winners. The DVLA CEO also won an award. CEO of the National Service Authority, Ruth Della Sedo, she also won an award there. And the backlash is growing because many Ghanaians question the credibility of such award schemes, the timing and the optics of public officials receiving honors at a time of flooding, at a time of building collapse, economic pressures and public demand for results. And of course, the organizers, they have pushed back. They say that Lindo Clue should be judged before the recent floods. But public criticism has continued. Now, President Mahama has directed ministers, CEOs, state institutions, and political appointees not to participate in, sponsor, endorse, attend, or accept awards from private organizations unless they have prior approval from the presidency. And the presidency is also reported to have signaled a performance review of ministers and state CEOs with possible implications for reassignment, retention, and reshuffle. Let me read to you excerpts of the statement. signed by Dr. Callistus Mahama, the Secretary of the President. And this is what it says, that the presidency says it is concerned about the growing trend of ministers, CEOs of state institutions, and political appointees accepting awards from private organizations. The presidency holds the view that many of these award schemes lack transparency, credible assessment criteria, and public accountability. It continues to say that, let's continue with the statement from the presidency, that public office holders have been directed not to participate in, sponsor, endorse, attend, or accept awards from private organizations unless expressly authorized by the office of the president. The presidency warns that such awards risk undermining the integrity of public service and exposing government to public criticism and embarrassment. The presidency insists that performance of ministers and CEOs, and listen to this, it will be judged based on measurable outcomes, policy implementation, prudent resource management, and service delivery, not private award ceremonies. The presidency will undertake its own comprehensive review of ministers and CEOs, and the findings may influence retention, reassignment, or future cabinet restructuring. That's it from the presidency in relation to the award scheme, the 6th Ghana Ministers of State Excellence Awards. Kay, are you surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised. We usually have these things every now and then, and when the government says they are going to reset, we really hope these things of old don't show up again. So at least this is right to issue a fair warning to those participating in some of these initiatives. It's important that when the organizers of such award schemes show up, you do your own analysis. You ask them what the metrics are, what model they are using to even measure the metrics and arrive at the metrics. And if you can do that, you get to save yourself from the fingering and bickering and the noise around some of these issues, because we've seen this before. If you quite remember, the famous Dr. UN award scheme, which swept the nation by surprise because high-profile persons became vulnerable, were at the mercy of an alleged conman. So it's important that when organizers of such awards approach you, you ask. And who pays for an award?
But the winners are telling us they didn't pay for any award. Linda Klu, for instance, she won the best regional minister. She says she did not pay a CD for the award.
We'll come to her issue.
Okay.
But let's look at the SIGA boss, Pesa White's concern. He said he had an interaction with them. He had an engagement with them.
Yes.
And these were the conditions. And as much as, Madam Linda and Mr. White may have their own issues, that's... Ghanaians don't care about that. Ghanaians care about the substance in what they are both articulating. Because I also saw a news card that says the regional minister, Madam Linda Klu, touted some achievements.
Yes.
I'd like us to get into that because I've done some fact checking on that, and it's disturbing that she could conveniently say that. In
fact, what she said, I've tackled sanitation.
Has she tackled sanitation?
That's what she said.
Has she?
She said, I have tackled flooding.
Has she tackled flooding?
So I want to understand what the definition of tackle is. I don't know if you can help us. Let's just do real, ordinary, lexical definition of tackle. And then maybe it will help us understand...
Crosby.
It'll help us understand what tackle means. And maybe how she used it
Crosby.
in the woman says she has tackled the thing. You don't think she has tackled it?
How can you tackle something that is rather tackling you?
So let me play.
Tackling you ruthlessly, and you're saying you've tackled it.
She
To
says-
what? To what end? To what effect?
Listen.
Haven't we seen people scarce, at the mercy of rains and drains and bad drains and so on? We've seen all of these things.
Okay, take a listen to the Greater Accra Regional Minister, and this is in relation to the controversy that has come from the awards.
I think I've done a lot that I deserve that recognition. And so to God be the glory. Third, sanitation within Greater Accra region. I have tackled chieftaincy disputes within the Greater Accra region. I have tackled street lighting within the Greater Accra region. I have tackled boundary issues within the Greater Accra region. If I want to, break down, I'm not sure we'll leave the studio this morning. And so for me, I've done a lot. By the end, and even flooding within the Greater Accra. I tackled this way back before even we started experiencing this flooding in Greater Accra. And so issues about flooding I also tackled, knowing very well that some of the buildings at Ramsar site will have effect, when it rains. I went on and I did a lot of demolition. Hence, you could see that I keep on saying I have a lot of people that hate me because of this demolition exercise.
So that's the voice of the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Madame Lendo Klug there.
Yes.
Okay, the Honourable Minister says she has tackled the problems. So if she's been...
First, let's give her the credit. She's been amazing as a regional minister.
Right.
And most importantly, as a woman, because we are all advocating for, women in leadership. It's important that we have a lot of women in leadership. So, to whom credit is due, I think she has been quite efficient in the delivery of her mandate. Because we have seen some
why
action.
she's been awarded.
We have seen some action from her. Of course, we've seen her. She's always showing up, appointees who show up or public office holders who show up, need to be recommended. But that cannot be the basis for an award. Unless probably, we see the metrics and we see how they arrived at the metrics. But if a private award scheme organizer says they are giving you an award, I think it's important to find out how did you earn it. So when issues and controversies emanate from the conversation, you can have something good to say. You can have some defense. But as it stands, you are only telling us you have tackled. Now let's look at the definition of tackle.
I think when you know the definition, you think she's right.
Yes, and I mean the definition can mean different things depending on the context. So we would start with what it says: to deal with or address a problem. To deal with or address a problem. And the second definition, which is also another context, to confront or take on a task. They say in sports, it is to stop or challenge an opponent. So now that Madame Lendo Klug says she has tackled street lighting issues in her constituency, we will subject what she said in contextual terms, and then
See, it's not that we are against awards, but the backlash all over social media, it is telling a very peculiar story that when it comes to government appointees and state officials, people are simply not interested in the glam and the optics. They just want to see their cities are working, their problems are getting solved, and the promises that you made to them, those promises are being fulfilled. Even the most advanced societies deal with issues, but the concern is we can't keep fighting over the same problems over and over and over again. Let's move on to the level where we're able to deal with the problems. At a time when the city is dealing with massive floods, public transportation issues, access to quality healthcare, building collapse, some ministers and members of parliament and CEOs, they are comfortable to sit through ceremonies to receive awards. Who is better placed to assess the performance of the appointees than the president himself, the appointer or the appointing authority, and the citizens? So what happens if, in the president's estimation, a certain minister who received an award hasn't delivered on the KPIs and there's the need for a move or a change? What will happen in a situation like that? If the president says, okay, you've been awarded, but according to my checklist, you don't meet the requirement, you've not done enough. And we've seen it from the statement from Callistus Mahama. Key deliverables, have you been able to meet them? You understand? The presidency statements buttress all concerns raised. And we need to know exactly what happened in the situation. In the defense of the award organizers, the Ghana Ministers of State Excellence Awards, they have reaffirmed commitment to celebrating excellence in public service. We don't have a problem with them organizing their own award ceremonies and awarding people.
Of course, it helps. It's morale.
Exactly.
I mean, they are also a relevant part of our business ecosystem. And I don't think it's a crime for the private sector to organize awards. But you see, there's always the morality test.
True.
I'm not preaching to be a morality police, but there's always a morality test. When you say you're doing something in the interest of the state, what informs what you're doing? What numbers inform the conversation you're having or the event you're organizing? So how did they arrive at these numbers? Because I wouldn't blame the minister. I would only blame her if Mr. White's allegations are true, that they paid money for the award. That would be a cash for award scandal. But as it stands, we can't prove that.
Yes.
So it is still speculation. It's an allegation. But what I'm concerned about is the organizers of the award. How did they arrive at the conclusion that XYZ, merit?
Because you meet
the award.
1, 2, 3, it means you.
Yes.
This is the award.
Just like we've seen with Charterhouse and even our beauty pageants, particularly Ghana's Most Beautiful. We've seen. I mean, people always have different opinions about the authenticity of winning and things like that, but they're always able to justify it because numbers don't lie. So how did these award organizers arrive at the conclusion that these are the people who merit or deserve an award? And I think that is something that has become a big conversation, or probably even forms part of our big conversation later today. But,
right.
It just unsettles a lot of people, to know that after everything that happened in the past, why are public officials allowing themselves, to be vulnerable, to be sort of exploited,
right?
Because you're supposed to represent an oracle of fact checking. So when people approach you, when you're a public officer, Crosby, you lose your. You cannot. It's like when you become a chief, your old name ceases to exist. The old person ceases to exist, and a new you is born. Yeah. In this context, it's only momentary for as long as you are in office, for the period of your tenure. But once you hold a public office, you must be held to high standards, and I think that's not negotiable. Yes.
The organizers of the scheme, Big Events Ghana, they say that the decision to honor the Greater Accra Regional Minister this year's awards, because it is generating a lot of controversy, public debate, especially in the wake of flooding and resident incidents in the part of Accra. Their recognition has attracted criticism. Now we know from some members of the public who question whether the minister deserved such an honor at a time like this. But speaking to journalists, the chairman of the event, his name is Prince McKay, he defended the decision. He insists that the award was based on measurable performance within a clearly defined assessment period, not on a public sentiment generated by recent events. This is what he said. According to him, the assessment focused strictly on work undertaken during that period and not on development that occurred afterwards. So they are looking at a specific timeline, and they are saying that so the recent flats building collapse put that one outside the bracket.
Oh, but you see, when the foundation is weak, you'll be exposed. So it's not about the recent flooding. The recent flooding didn't just happen, you know.
Already now, there's a perception already coming from vetting.
Yeah.
How the regional minister was not vetted. So she went there, of course. She sat there, but we heard what Bernard Ahiafo said in relation to her vetting and how she exhaled and hugged after she was dismissed. So already there's some public perception about you, your competencies, your performances already. And if this is adding up to this at a time like this, the optics, they just do not look good.
And for me, even I'll call that the politics of things. You know, I'm not interested in the politics of things. So far as she went through a process, and people we have appointed or we have put into high offices to endorse her, she remains a Greater Accra Regional Minister, period. But I look beyond that, the performance, you know, because, I mean, Crosby, you and me, they Ghana here, Crosby. So, what are we talking about?
If you join us on Facebook right now, you see the statement from the organizers of the event. And let's read just the part that talks about the criteria for the award. Just that line or those paragraphs that talk about the criteria for awarding the people. So that's what they're saying, that the Secretariat is clarifying that the recognition under the award is not and has never been conditional upon financial support, sponsorship, or any form of contribution. No individual or institution is required to provide financial support in order to be considered for recognition, selected for an honor, or receive an award. Recognition decisions under the honors remain independent of stakeholder engagement associated with the organization of the program. They say that they have, over the years, celebrated a lot of people: Professor Michael Quay, Professor Joshua Labi, the Honorable Ekos Pio Gabra, Alan Tremartin, Hakman Oswajiman, a lot of people, even the former majority leader, Oseiche Mensah Bonsu. They say these are some of the people who have been awarded. So it sort of gives credence to them, doesn't it?
That was yesterday. We are talking about today.
Yes.
Ghanaians are woke today. You know, Ghanaians are more conscious of everything that's happening around them. I don't know if you've seen the Imani poll sentiment analysis. It speaks to a lot of these issues. But the new Ghanaian does not care about all of these, you know, who received an award previously. We are asking, what is the metrics? Okay, we have now come to the realization that this year we need to ask questions. You know, how did you arrive at the metrics? What informed I mean, and it's a private award scheme. So if you want to do your own private award scheme, don't be doing the best minister, the best. On what grounds? Public institutions have not even released their yearly reports, and you are saying on what grounds? So these are some of the things that I think, they're just making excuses, not to talk down on anyone's business, but these are serious national issues. So when you want to be part of the national conversation, or when your efforts affect, the overall national outlook in a way that becomes scandalous and leaves vulnerable, the vulnerable more vulnerable, or makes them laughing stock, or creates doubt. We reserve every right to also poke holes into.
I don't know whether this serves as the criteria they look at. The platform was established with the objective of celebrating individuals and institutions whose work contribute meaningfully to national development and inspires excellence in governance. It adds the honors recognizes notable contributions made within a given period and seeks to promote a culture of commitment, accountability, innovation, and service across all levels of public administration. Does it qualify as a criteria?
Crosby, you see, this defense they've put up, the problem is that most of what they have published addresses intentions, history, and self-description.
Right.
And what the controversy is demanding, the hardcore demands of the controversy is evidence, methodology, and verifiability. So what are we talking about?
As a result, the presidency has spoken about it. And a portion of the president's letter is saying that he's emphasizing that in due course, the presidency will undertake a comprehensive review of the performance of ministers, chief executive officers, and the findings of this review shall constitute a key basis for decisions relating to retention in office, reassignment of responsibilities, and any future cabinet or executive restructuring.
And that's a wise one, because we haven't seen the scorecard. So if you haven't seen the scorecard, on what grounds are you awarding or giving awards? A quick run through with some of the things they've mentioned in the. It still boils down to the very simple fact that I mentioned earlier. I said three things. We haven't seen the evidence, we haven't seen the methodology, and we haven't seen verifiability. Until those three things are substantiated, they should give Ghanaians a break.
The Honorable Edem Agbana, he's a member of parliament, and this is what he had to say in relation to the latest. Edem Agbana, this is what Edem Agbana is saying, that he has observed a worrying trend where many groups are organizing award schemes for CEOs, institutions, ministers, and other public officials. He asked that just as it happened under the previous administration, I have noticed that some state-owned enterprises are being listed or advertised as sponsors of these awards. Respectfully, he believes that it may be necessary for the Chief of Staff to issue a directive on this matter. Significant amounts of funds appear to be going into sponsoring such events, yet the direct benefit to the social contract we signed with the Ghanaian people remains unclear. Some of these institutions could instead be encouraged to channel their corporate social responsibility resources into more impactful projects such as the construction of schools, astroturfs, drilling boreholes, refurbishment of markets, and other community-based interventions. Unfortunately, some institutions seem to be continuing the NPP tradition of sponsoring awards largely for the purpose of receiving plaques and recognitions that create the impression of performance. And I like that word, impression of performance. Anyway, what do I know? He has disclaimer, I do not know the sponsors of this particular awards yet, but what does it even mean? Do they know the KPI of each minister? What is Best Minister Awards? That's it from Eric Edem Agbana. And I think Okay, he hits the nail right on the head.
Yes,
and this is before the scheme. This is before the day the awards were held. Some very valid concerns there came.
Indeed. He couldn't have said it any better. And I'm happy there was a swift response from the President's Secretary, Mr. Callistus Mahama. But the cigar boss, Michael Pesa White, writes.
Yes.
And he's making some very serious allegations, you know. Good morning, Mr. White.
And that's the...
Yes, I'm sure he's having, he's enjoying himself.
He's having a field day.
Yeah, fingering in some of these issues.
Yeah.
But he was not very happy when some few months ago, Imani was on his case about the SIC issue, and yeah, we are happy he's seeing that some of these things are very important for national development. So good morning, Mr. White. Yeah. Should we read what he says?
Yes, please do. Please do.
So the singer boss, Michael Pesa White, writes, and he says, early this morning, I received a letter. Early this month, I received a letter from an organization styling itself as the Ghana Ministers of State Excellence Honors. The letter informed me that I had been adjudged Best CEO of the Year and invited me to receive the award at an event scheduled to take place at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Ordinarily, recognition for public service should be a matter of humility, gratitude, and sober reflection.
Right.
No serious public officer should be indifferent to appreciation where such appreciation is grounded in transparent assessment, demonstrable performance, public impact, and institutional credibility.
Makes a lot of sense.
However, public recognition must never be reduced to a transaction in which the recipient first pays for the honor before being celebrated. In this particular case, I did not know which year the award covered. I did not know the criteria used for the assessment. I did not know the composition of the assessment panel. I did not know the indicators against which performance was measured. I did not know who the other contenders were. I did not know whether any independent verification had been conducted. Above all, I did not consider myself the best CEO because in public service, there's always much more work to be done, many more lives to touch, and many more institutional reforms to pursue. Hey, Mr. White has written on. So he knew all this when he was fighting us on the SIC issue.
That one is different matter.
Out of caution, I advised my staff to contact the organizers and seek clarity. It was only then that we discovered that attendance at the event to receive the supposed honor was tied to payment. The options communicated were either a sponsorship package of 50,000 Ghana cedis or the purchase of a dinner table of 8 at 25,000 Ghana cedis. In other words, the path to public recognition appeared to have been tied to financial contribution. I opted not to be part of it. This experience raises a serious matter of public interest. If an award is credible, it must rest on merit, evidence, and transparent evaluation. If a person has genuinely been adjudged deserving of recognition, that recognition should not depend on whether the person's institution, or the public office they occupy can pay for sponsorship or buy a dinner table.
Okay, hold on for me there. And Kay, if a person will be adjudged deserving of recognition, if this should not be the criteria, what should be the criteria and how do we measure it?
We'll come to that. I think we mentioned earlier, I made a few points concerning how they arrived at who won and who didn't. And I further ask that they should show us the scorecard, because without the scorecard, how are we convinced that this is what informed your decision? Events like this requires evidence, methodology, and verifiability. And I think the SIGA boss couldn't have said it any better. He's on point. What he's saying is on point. I would mark him 100%.
Yes,
because this is grounded on and he becomes a shining example in terms of a public officer who took his time to do some due diligence. He asked himself questions. I'm sure he was thinking to himself, I'm a citizen first. Let me ask myself questions. As a citizen, if I hear that my public officer is being celebrated for XYZ, what are the questions I will ask myself? And I'm sure he asked himself those same questions and advised himself not to participate. So it becomes very important that as public officers, we ask the hard questions. Where is the evidence of my awesome performance? Who constitutes the panel that determines who deserves this award? What methodology informed you that I deserve this award? And is it verifiable? Is it transparent enough not to arouse suspicion and create noise? So for me, these three things are key. But we're going to go deeper into it.
Right.
We'll probably do a step-by-step. I'd like to look at their letter.
Okay.
The situation, those involved, and then we can speak to the matter. A lot more. This is concerning.
Overall best minister, Dr. Tofosin. Best male performing minister, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, is the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Best regional minister, Linda Obinewa Akweli Okulu, Greater Accra Regional Minister. And listen to this. Best deputy minister, Dorcas Tofi. And she is the deputy minister of transport. She was there to receive the award herself, as well as Madame Lindo Okulu. Best female minister was the Eastern Regional Minister, Rita Akosia Ejay Awate. Most hardworking first-timer MP was Kwame Plus. Best MP was Kwame Plus was also there himself to receive the award. Best MP was the Honorable Dafia Mekpo. Oh, he was also there to receive the award himself. Best female CEO was Ruth Delacedo, and she is the National Service Authority CEO. Overall best CEO, state companies, Professor Ransford Jampo. And then promising CEO was Julius Nikwe Kote. He's the CEO of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority. So these are the award winners, gallant men and women who went to the 6th Ministers of State Excellence Awards, picked up the awards, much to the appreciation of their friends and their family. We're not saying don't award them, organizers of the event. We're not saying we've done anything bad. Let us know what you measured these people against. Because all of us are in the country. All of us know the concerns we're facing. The transport challenges, the transportation challenges that a few months ago was the talk of town everywhere. Everybody was talking about it.
Wait, you say she was awarded what?
Oh, Best Deputy Minister.
Best Deputy Minister?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. I would really like to see the metric.
The Honorable Dorcas Afotofe.
Really?
Yeah. She was, yeah.
I mean, for A+, some people argue
So the thing is, there are those who people are not talking about.
Yes.
Those who won the award, people are not talking about. They are.
Why do they want to single out the Greater Accra Regional?
But they are singling out people. It's not nice.
Why do they want to single out the Greater Accra Regional Minister? I think she has offended a lot of people.
She says she has a lot of enemies.
Yes, because I mean, she's done what some people refuse to do over the years with her demolition exercise and her no for an excuse. You know, she has been ruthless in her endeavor, and I think it has brought some results. So I'm sure in times like this, people try to leverage the pains and disaffection, you know.
And
but for A+, Kwame A+, my very own MP, I'm
you're his constituent.
yes.
I see.
So Gomwa Central, in fact, we can tell, we have seen what he's doing. There are tangible results, except for the part that there should be a lot more collaboration between him and the traditional authorities. I see him trying, maybe because of the conflicts too. He's not too involved with them. But I've heard him say statements like, me and the chiefs, you know, I double as a secretary to a royal family there. And I can tell you for a fact that since A+ became an MP, he has not even had audience with the only paramount queen mother in Gomwa, Obatampa.
She's been the deputy minister when these new buses have come.
New buses. Is this the first time buses are coming?
No, but
Crosby,
there was a problem. There was a problem. We're all talking about it, and they've been attempt at
was it
solving the
you
problem.
or it was Mawina? We sat here and discussed the issue of the buses, and you know. So look, people are working. So when you come and say because you brought buses, is that a yardstick to say you are the best deputy minister?
That is why we need to know the
Gomwa West MP, Richard Jan.
Yeah.
Who is a deputy minister for energy. This morning, allow me to give my people shout-outs. You know, good morning, Captain Smart. He's also from the area. He's from Gomwa West. So Richard Jan is his constituent. Richard Jan is the deputy minister of energy. You see how he's dribbling the crisis, the energy crisis. He's dribbling the crisis. He's trying as much as possible so we don't say Dumso is back.
Is he?
And he's doing that head on with the minister in charge.
So you see, right now, if you had a chance to organize an awards, I'm sure you look for him.
I wouldn't. I would say, well, you are doing very well, but when it comes to issues of national importance, national interest, governance, the numbers must speak. So Richard, as much as I think you're doing very well, let the numbers speak. Like I said, A+ is doing awesome. Look, we haven't had an MP like that in a long while across Gomwa since Amabenyuado's time. I'm telling you, and it will be very unfair for me to chastise him that he's not doing much. He's doing a lot, even though he can do better. You know, he should engage. He shouldn't do selective engagement. A lot of people can contribute to the great things he wants to achieve for Gomwa. You are a politician. After 4 years, you are subject to, another round of voting. But the traditional authorities are there. And, you know, it's about time our MPs also appreciate that they can do a lot better to support the traditional authorities. Trainings, educational webinars and things, so they can even understand the Chieftaincy Act. They can understand the space they exist within and how they ought to govern. You know, so there's a lot more when it comes to that. But no doubt, this is a performing MP. But if I were an organizer, I would subject him to strict proof, evidence, and I would definitely have a methodology to arrive there. You know, I wouldn't be giving awards based on feelings and sentiments and, you know, because I think this person is too cool, you know, too cool.
We'll see. But the bottom line is that the president has used this opportunity to hit of a possible reshuffle.
There's been rumors of a reshuffle for a while now. And I think you saw the fake communique
Well,
that was circulating.
Now we know it is fake.
Yes.
Now we know it is fake.
So I think what Callistus did was he killed two birds with one stone. He's informed Ghanaians that there is a possible reshuffle. Not a possible, there's a reshuffle coming. How soon it is coming, that we don't know for now. But outside of that, he has also debunked that fake communique that was saying that there has been a reshuffle.
Let me pick your thoughts on this, and let's get ahead of ourselves a little for just a minute or two. The possible reshuffle, okay?
Yes.
You have been in the space. You may have a better criteria to measure the performance of these ministers. You want to talk about a few ones who you think should go to other places or should be told to Tamchuku Wankwana later?
I'll speak to one for now.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of backlash against Sam George. Personally, I don't like his style of leadership. He reminds me, I'm not so old, but he reminds me of myself when I was a bit younger. You know, a lot of passion, creative energy, youthful exuberance, you know. But public sector is different, you see, and public sector optics are also very important. So I'm not a fan of his style of leadership, but I also agree with him, even though I mostly disagree with his style of leadership, because tomorrow is too indefinite for diplomacy, Crosby. We've had people who have come and they've been diplomatic. They've told us all the beautiful things we want to hear, and then what next?
Sometimes it does not work, eh?
Last week, we had an engagement with him, Imani think tank. You know, we had an engagement with him. And after the engagement, I decided to reflect. And I think government will be making a terrible mistake if he's affected by a reshuffle.
Oh, I see.
Yes, because I've seen the conversation ongoing, especially when the fake communique was out there, his name was somewhere in there. You know, people were jubilating. And I'm like, this is someone who is pushing to build the digital economy of our country, which is the future of this country. And are we sure that a reshuffle, someone new can come and within 6 months be up to that same speed? It's going to be very hard.
We should be able to separate his performance as a minister from his leadership style or his temperament.
Yes.
If we don't, we'll put the two together.
But does his leadership style get results? Mostly it has. Because it is his leadership style that, I'm saying this from a very honest perspective, it is his leadership style, his snobbishness that got some of us so infuriated that we wanted to prove him wrong. That, hey, your NATO thing. So it got us also work. It made us vigilant citizens.
Right.
You know, so to a large extent, you know, for someone like that, I don't think, you know, a reshuffle should be made based on emotions. The reshuffle is equally subject to the same things we are subjecting these awards to. A scorecard. What is your scorecard? Have you performed? You know, the president gave you a mandate. Have you performed on your mandate? Have you been able to deliver as is expected of you?
Right.
What is your relationship with the citizenry? Are you engaging? Are you, what is your social credit? You know, what is your visibility? All these things would form part of a scorecard if I were to evaluate him. But then again, I'm not. The chief of staff will. And I'm sure they have a criteria.
Yeah.
And when they
have KPIs that they have to
key performance indicators. I'm sure when they are done, we go here.
Bill, the performance of the sports minister so far, what do you think?
I think more can be done. More can be done. I think so far it's been okay. I can't say it's particularly great because, I mean, it's I feel there's still some things that he has to really tackle, like the so-called lesser-known sports, for example. That's, I think, not as much focus has been really placed as compared to the football side, because, again, I understand, because football is literally our passion, and all of that. But I feel on the base of lesser known sports, we've not seen as much as we've seen with his sort of leadership on football. What I particularly like about what he's done is being more transparent, especially with the Black Stars budget. I think,
he's learned a hard lesson.
Yeah, I think before him, we've never really had someone sit and then actually read a budget out.
Neil Ante did not do that.
Oh, I mean, when it comes to
the level of transparency,
wasn't as consistent. The qualifiers, he literally gave the budget of every match day.
Okay.
Which is something that I don't remember
has high level of transparency.
Has ever happened before. So on that score, yes, great. But I think some more can be done, especially
on the score of him and tourism collaborating to make sure that there's institutional growth across. I haven't seen much. The sports ministry should be able to collaborate a lot with the creative arts and entertainment sector, and also particularly with the tourism. Yeah, because I mean, there are a lot of shared values within. I haven't seen much. So on that score, but on the transparency, I do agree.
Very transparent.
That I think we have seen improvements in reporting.
To remove, reshuffle.
Or no, keep.
To keep him.
Keep. Oh. It's too early to think of removing or reshuffling.
But Crosby, let me ask you two a question. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ask him.
Yes, ask us.
So,
ask him.
Crosby, what do you also think of the tourism ministry? The tourism ministry and also the Ministry of Justice led by Attorney General. The tourism ministry, because we just mentioned the sports, but particularly on justice, because this government came to power on the
riding
campaign
on one horse
of a reset, Operation Recover All Loot. It was a flagship. I mean, now people look at Okujato, and who wants Okujato to be reshuffled? Would you want Okujato to be exactly? So when you are deserving, I mean, when you are deserving, but
I don't want
not to say they are not deserving. The sports minister appears to be one of the most criticized ministers across.
Yeah,
she's been accused of things that she hasn't done. She's been accused of tribalism and and things like that.
Madam Jifa Abla Gomashi,
Yes.
good morning to you. Well, we'll come and talk about you later.
But Crosby, you have to answer this one.
Which one?
Briefly.
You mean
the sports, the tourism minister and the Minister of Justice.
The Minister of Justice.
Yes.
The Minister of Justice, I would say, relook at it. Look at the Ministry of Justice. But the tourism ministry, maybe a few agencies can do better under her. But I think the figurehead itself seems to be doing enough. I'm not doing like a tick by tick classic analysis.
It's not a forensic analysis.
That's not what I'm doing.
This is an opinion.
Eye test.
Okay.
Yes. Justice Ministry, Attorney General, changed it.
Sunrise.
we start off with some updates from the Black Stars camp, where Ghana's preparations for the 2026 FIFA World Cup appear set to continue without an additional friendly match before their opening game against Panama on June 17th. Now, Ghana Football Association's Communication Director, Henry Asante Chum, has revealed that at this stage, plans for another preparatory fixture are unlikely, although he stopped short of ruling out the possibility completely. Henry explained that any late decision will depend on the technical team's assessment of what the squad needs ahead of the tournament.
At this point, is a big no. We do not have any game on paper at this point. It doesn't look like it, but I am not in the position to rule out anything yet. If it is that we wake up tomorrow and he wants to play maybe a mid to low intensity, I don't think he will accept a higher intensity game at this point. But if it is that we wake up tomorrow and he wants to play a mid to low intensity game, we will make it public. But at this point, there is nothing of a sort on paper. The coach wants a game, we arrange. If he doesn't need a game, we move. We told him about a second game before we played against Wales. We were all looking forward to it. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and collectively we have decided to move on. So it's not about only the coach or the FA. We work hand in hand to ensure that the best possible arrangements are made for the team.
That was Henry Asante Chum, the Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association. Meanwhile, he also publicly spoke for the first time on reports surrounding Thomas Partey ahead of Ghana's World Cup clash against England later this month. Now, speaking about speculation in the English media concerning whether England players will shake hands with Partey before the Group L encounter, Asante Chum suggested that discussion could become a distraction ahead of the tournament.
Member association concerns do not travel from one member association to another. Member association concerns go to the tournament organizer or the competition owner. In that sense, I am talking about FIFA. So if the English FA have plans to do this, they will not communicate with us, because we are not the organizers of the tournament. They will communicate to FIFA, and FIFA will look into it if there is a need to get us involved before they bring us in. I see this whole thing differently. I sit here every morning and I wake up to tons of emails from English media, tons of them. I've lost count. You know, in the lead up to the game against Wales, I received 17 emails within 3 days on this Thomas issue. When the coach met the press before the game, I saw four of our brothers there, and 2 of them asked questions regarding this particular issue. The following day, as if they were not impressed by what the coach said or with the response of the coach. So the following day, a number of them also turned up again, and they were asking the same thing. So we are not. These things are not new. We have become used to these things. We have absolute confidence in what our player has told us. We have supported him right from the very beginning. He knows that we have been with him, toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder. We believe in what his legal team has told us. He has our support. And so it's not something we are focusing on. Now, these noise that come from outside sometimes aim to stabilize you, aim to take your mind off the game. It could be part of the mind games. And we are not interested in these kinds of mind games.
That was Henry Asante Chum speaking on the Thomas Partey issue. Moving on, Ghana Football Association President Keto Kraku has strongly appealed to Ghanaians to show absolute support and patience for the new Black Stars head coach Carlos Queiroz and the national team. Speaking to the GFA media as the team gears up for the World Cup, Kraku emphasized that rebuilding the national team requires collective unity and time following recent tactical or technical shakeups.
Thank you to everybody who's played a part. Different managers, different management committees, people have served, and I don't take this for granted. So Carlos at this time needs the support of everybody. He needs the prayers of everybody. And as a country, my plea is that I know we are expectant. But let's be patient. Let's give the technical team, the players, the chance to build and to be competitive. And I have a feeling that these players will give off their very best for Ghana. I don't think I am in doubt. Okay, what they need is the support of each and every Ghanaian, and I'll say it in our local palace. In Akan, Mistremo, Yenya Butre, Emma team no. Black Stars no, NA team, Yempo, NA team. Omi here Yempaibo, more support, whether good or bad. Omi here. And me sure say play bia coach no afraid and also be free to represent Ghana on this journey. They'll give of their very best for our country.
That was Keto Kraku, the president of the GFA. Let's do some more. Our former Black Stars coach and current head coach of Gor Mahia, CK Akono, believes Ghana has what it takes to make a significant impact at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, but insists that a strong start will be crucial to the team's success. Now, speaking in an interview with Akoma FM, Akono stressed the importance of Ghana's opening group match, describing it as a key factor in determining how far the Black Stars can go in the tournament.
The end of the product. I'm looking at the beginning of the product. The beginning of the product is that we are playing Panama in our first match, right? Okay, we have to win that match. As the year comes to the end, the journey will not be completed if you've not been able to kick out those. So I think instead of focus on the end product, focusing on the beginning, the first term, the medium term, to joke. They also have believed that they will win against us. See, I look at my first match. My second one, group stage.
That was CK Akono, the head coach of Gor Mahia and former head coach of the Black Stars. Still on national team football, but this time on the senior women's national team, where the Black Queens head coach Kimlas Björkegren has opened up on the team's pre-WAFCON preparations after the Queens closed camp later on Monday. The head coach described the week-long camp as successful as the team readied themselves for July's Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
Some set pieces that we maybe couldn't do if we played against the national team. So I see this camp as very positive. In the preparation to the WAFCON, we're going to play another 2-3 games. So we will anyway have those kind of games. I mean, they have been good. I mean, I will want to give credit to the whole squad. They have been keeping up the energy. We have been rotating a lot. All of the players had some minutes in one game at least, the most of them in 2 games. So overall, they have been good. I mean, when I took over the team 1.5 years ago, I said my expectation is to bring back Ghana to a top 4 team in Africa. If we do that, I'm pretty sure that we sooner or later will win. Top 4 is going to give us the qualification for the World Cup, so that's going to be huge. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to do everything we can to start with to make the top 4. And if you are top 4, let's push for the gold.
That was Kimlas Björkegren, the head coach of the Black Queens. Now, Asante Kotoko have appointed former Ajax and Netherlands goalkeeper Stanley Menzo as the club's new director of football. The appointment, announced on Monday, forms part of the club's long-term strategy to strengthen its technical leadership, modernize football operations, and return the Porcupine Warriors to the top of Ghanaian and African football. Menzo arrives in Kumasi with an impressive football background spanning play, coaching, and football administration across Europe, Africa, and Asia. The Dutchman spent a decade with Ajax, making more than 300 appearances and winning multiple major honors. Just cross borders now, where Bafana head coach Hugo Bruce has expressed strong satisfaction with the team's preparational base camp in Pachuca, Mexico, saying the excellent facilities and support staff leave the squad with no excuses as preparations intensify. The camp, hosted at a university training complex, is serving as their main preparation base ahead of their opening World Cup fixture against the co-host Mexico.
No, it's very important. Once we knew the draw in December, and we know that we had to play our first game here, the opening game against Mexico, immediately immediately I knew that we needed a place where we could prepare that game, certainly concerning the high altitude. So I visited Pachuca end of February, I think, and I was very happy with the accommodation. I was very happy with the pitches. I was very happy what we find there in the University of Football. You have everything what you want and what you need to prepare a team. Also, the people are very helpful. We can't ask anything, and before we ask it, it's already there. So again, I'm very happy that we are here, and if we have good results in the World Cup, it's certainly because we have that magnificent and very good preparation here in Pachuca.
That was Hugo Bruce speaking there. Still on the World Cup though, Somalian top referee Omar Abdulkader Atan has broken his silence after being denied entry into the United States for the 2026 FIFA World Cup tournament. Now Atan had been selected as one of the 52 referees for the global showpiece co-hosted by the United States, Canada and Mexico, and was set to become the first Somali official to referee at football's biggest tournament. However, his participation at the tournament suffered a major setback after being denied entry into the United States, ruling him out of the Mundial, which kick off on Thursday, June 11, 2026. Before we go, let's do some tennis, where Serena Williams will take part in her first professional tennis match after nearly 4 years on Tuesday, after organizers confirmed the order of play at London's Queen's Club. Granted a wild card into the women's doubles of the WTA tournament, Williams and Canadian teenager Victoria Mboko, who faced third seeds in Erin Rutlife and also Nicole Melisha Martinez in a grass court event, a warm-up for Wimbledon. Williams is one of tennis's greatest all-time greats, with 23 Grand Slam titles to her name. The 44-year-old last played at the 2022 US Open when she said she was evolving away from tennis. Now, Williams' return is fueled by a desire for her two young daughters with husband Alexis Ohanian to see her in a competitive environment before she finally hangs up her racket for good. And that's it for the sports segment here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Ishen. We'll see you same time tomorrow as we build up to the 2026 World Cup. But until then, do have a very great morning.
This is from Latex Foam Rubber Products. These days, some mattresses are being made from all kinds of unsafe materials. Materials that are not fit for sleeping surfaces. And these materials, when they are used to make the mattresses, they may be cheap, but they can be very harmful to your health. They don't meet Ghana's safety standards and will end up costing you more. Buying inferior and cheap mattresses may seem like a good way to save money, but do not fall for that trap. If you haven't slept well, you cannot work and think well, and you are ultimately putting your health at risk, which can cause you a lifetime of discomfort and chronic pain. So as a responsible citizen, we should invest in safe, durable and certified mattresses. That is why we must all raise awareness to protect families across the country. Latex Foam remains the tried and tested brand we all love for almost 60 years. Now they offer you unmatched quality and durability for every Ghanaian home. Make the smart choice. Talk to them. If you are in Accra, 0302-231155. If you are in Kumasi, 03220-29365. Call these numbers for your inquiries, or you can walk into any of their outlets nationwide for your preferred choice. You can also visit them at www.latexfoam.com, and all their social media platforms are also available for you. Do not settle for less. Go for quality. Buy Latex Foam, or else you did do yourself. Latex Foam, your partner for life.
It's DJ Breezy.
And this one is from Snit's Luxury Apartments. It is now on sale. If you're looking to own a premium home in a prime location in Accra, then Snit is inviting you to explore its luxury apartments and townhouses. Featuring spacious 2, 3 and 4 bedroom units across selected communities in Accra. Choose from Adinkra Heights in Cantonment, Eagles Place in Sakumono, and Meridian Gardens in Klagon for your next home. You get the chance to experience comfort and style, as well as value. It is backed by a trusted institution. Units are now selling. All you have to do is to call 0244-593-276, 0244-593-276, or visit Snit's sales office at the 6th floor Ridge Tower, Accra, for further enquiries. There's one more this morning. And this one says, attention all parents of first-year SHS boarding students. EduPack, the Ghana Education Service approved and supported National SHS initiative implemented by Prospectus Ghana. It is now in progress across the country, and parents across the country are already registering so that their children's trunk, Macintosh mattress and pillow, as well as their plastic chop box, will be ready and waiting. They will be ready and waiting at their school before reporting day. So do not delay and be caught in the usual last-minute market rush, carrying heavy items under pressure. Because with EduPack, your child does not need to travel to school with these 4 essential items. Your child gets them when he or she gets to school. All you have to do is to register. Register by dialing *713*821#, *713*821#, or visit any ADB branch, or go to www.edupackgh.com. Make payments, keep your receipt, present it on opening day, and collect all your child's EduPack items. Your EduPack registration follows you to any SHs that you are placed. Avoid the stress, avoid the rush, prepare with confidence. And you can do that at very affordable rates. EduPack approved and supported by GES. If you want more information, call 050-7 0700752 or 050-864-4802. Alternatively, 0302-955-050. And you pack no stress, no wahala.
Sunrise on 3FM.
And just like you may be aware this morning, we are moving from one of the most talked issues, moving to one of the most talked issues from yesterday into the morning. And it's all about the awards controversy involving public officials. Strong public reaction to private awards being given to ministers, CEOs, and other state officials. And many people are questioning the basis, the credibility, and timing of these honors. One of the awards that has attracted perhaps the most public attention is the recognition of the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu as the best regional minister. Now, just so that we're clear, the conversation is not to discredit her award, no. It is not to sit here and declare that she did not deserve it, no. In fact, she has defended the recognition and has insisted that it reflects her hard work and performance in office. But because public office comes with public scrutiny, and because the award has triggered a wider national conversation, especially coming after the presidency's directive asking public officials not to accept private awards without approval, it is only fair that we hear from her directly. We will hear from her directly. So this morning, the Greater Accra Regional Minister will speak to us. What does the award mean to her? What work does she believe earned her that recognition? And does she understand why some members of the public are reacting the way they are? Plus, in hindsight, does this controversy say something bigger about how public officials should be assessed and celebrated? Before we speak to her, Kay Kujo has forensic fact check on Linda Oklu and the award controversy. Kay,
Yes.
you have packed something for us. What is it?
Yes, Crosby, you know, the award scheme itself has been spoken to negatively by the Sega boss.
Yes.
Professor Kwesa White. He says he was offered an award with two options: a 50,000 Ghana Cedi scholarship and a 25,000 Ghana Cedis table of 8. A dinner table of 8.
500 million and 250 million.
Yes.
Okay.
See, he says he declined due to lack of transparency on year criteria, panel nominees, and methodology.
Okay.
Organizers also deny it was a payment for an award scheme, saying it was only a sponsorship request.
Okay.
And
That's
the
what really
presidency.
there's no problem with.
Yes.
Okay.
The presidency issued a directive which confirms many award schemes lack transparent, objective, verifiable criteria and should not measure public performance.
Okay.
So just so we have a little background into that, since we are going deeper into the conversation, the forensic conclusion is that even if no recipient paid personally, the award process fails the public interest test unless organizers publish the scoring sheet, panel, nominees, data sources, and funding structures. So that becomes the background or the backbone of this conversation. Now, let's go to the regional minister's claims.
Right. Claims that she deserved it in her defense of the award. Okay.
Yes, Crosby, rightfully so. In her defense, she mentioned that she has tackled street lighting. And I think we had that conversation earlier. We tried to define what tackling is. So the verdict in this case is mostly substantiated, but not fully proven. Because there's a targeted restoration of 70% of Accra street lights under her leadership. And it covered 128 principal streets across 28 MMDAs in Greater Accra, which has 29 MMDAs. Unresolved areas remain. Parts of Krowo, the Kaswa, Winneba stretch, and so on and so forth. Cable theft continues to be a setback as well. So, on that note, for A, we have tackled street lightning. The forensic score is 7/10.
That's a high mark.
Yes. To whom much is given, much is expected. I was hoping she would do a 9.9.
People would think that the 7/10, they'll think.
People will always have their opinion,
yes.
I will encourage them to subject this to further forensic analysis.
Okay.
And I'm sure they would come up with, their findings will evolve around similar.
Okay.
If they are not being unscrupulous. We move to B, Crosby, and with B, if you quite remember, in her defense again, she stated that she has tackled flooding. This verdict is weak and overstated.
In fact, while she was explaining the flooding, she spoke about demolitions, Ramsar site demolitions, and preventing people from building on those areas.
Yes, we'll look at all that. A reason why we say it's weak and overstated. The May 2025 floods in Accra, 4 deaths, 3,000 households affected, vehicles swept away.
Last year.
Yes. June this year, the minister admitted disasters are driven by unauthorized construction, waste disposal, encroachment, and weak enforcement. And the crisis still persists. So there's no evidence of flooding being tackled. So as much as she has made good efforts towards that, if we should subject her bold claim of I have tackled flooding to strict forensic proof, she scores 3/10. And then we look at I have tackled sanitation. I've tackled sanitation. That's another claim she made. That's point C. The verdict is that it is partially substantiated, but no hard outcome proof. And reason being, at the national level, 33.4% of households had solid waste collected. 70.6% disposed wastewater by throwing it on ground, street, outside. Urban Greater Accra, 42.1% disposed water on street, ground, or outside. And no published data on waste cleared, drains distilled, prosecutions, fines, or measurable reductions in blockages. We're seeing bar stop boys
doing a lot of the work. And just a little bit on the sanitation. I'm sure. So in the area of wash.
Yes.
That is when all of these come in. But when it comes to providing facilities to prevent open defecation amongst others, that would also is likely to reduce her score a little bit more.
Yes. So if you see, we mentioned solid waste.
Yes.
So we try to add all that to the solid waste. So on the note of C, she scores a 4/10. Because like you rightfully mentioned, it's hard to find the stats to even... And then to D, she says, I have tackled chieftaincy disputes. I'm anticipating a rebuttal from those who think otherwise.
From some chiefs, eh?
Yes. I'm sure they will be quite unhappy with her because we all know the chieftaincy issues that still exist within Greater Accra. And its chieftaincy is so delicate that we don't expect her to solve it 100%. She's not the minister for this particular institution. But she says she has tackled. So I don't know how she tackled chieftaincy disputes without being the minister in charge. The verdict is there's no proof of what she has said. No public data on number of disputes resolved, traditional areas settled, signed agreements, House of Chiefs outcomes, or gazetted settlements. Only statements by minister reported in media. That's not enough to go with. So on that score, it's a 2 over 10.
But see, hold on for me. So even though there is no data to back. Hold on for me. Even though there is no data to back what she has said, it does it not also mean that there is no data to disprove what he has said?
There is data to disprove what she has said. But you see, when you allege, you must prove. So the burden of proof lies on her.
I see.
You understand? If the burden of proof lies on us, if anybody should come and dispute what we are discussing, we'll delve into it deeper. I mean, Media General and 3FM is a credible station. We are your urban lifestyle radio. We make sure we speak to the facts. So if anybody should subject this to strict proof, then the burden of proof would lie on us, and we would also do the needful.
Okay.
But I'm saying authoritatively that there is no proof to the claim that I have tackled chieftaincy disputes.
Okay.
Then we look at, I have tackled boundary issues. Boundary issues. Has she tackled boundary issues?
What does it even mean?
There are always boundary disputes. Like currently my people in Gomwa Fete and Ewutu Senya and those enclaves bordering Accra, there's always some misunderstanding between them and Greater Accra, especially from that side of town, the Kaswa enclave, because of encroachment. And, if you quite remember, when we were a lot younger, that toll booth didn't exist. And the only barrier we knew was what we now called Old Barrier, the road that leads towards Kokrobite. I'm just speaking to one of these boundary issues, just so that I can throw some light on it. Before that, the barrier was even at McCarthy Hill.
Okay.
I mean, in the good old days when some of us were not even conceived. But over time, Greater Accra's urbanization has led to population expansion, increase, and towns on the outskirts or other traditional areas on the outskirts have been encroached.
Okay.
When that happens, then it becomes subject to dispute. And it's only a court of competent jurisdiction that can settle such disputes.
Okay.
She says she has tackled boundary issues. Here too, the burden of proof lies on her, but the verdict is there's no proof. Boundary dispute, land guards, encroachments recognized as urgent challenges in Greater Accra. There's still Langadism in Greater Accra region. We are still dealing with boundary disputes, encroachments. I have personally
suffered a few.
Look, in one community that has been in the news recently during these floods, Sampa Valley, always is because of encroachment. So if you say you have tackled it, where is the data? Madam, we'll be happy if you speak to the data.
Right.
So that we can clap for you. We will even be the one to report your successes. We can carry you shoulder high and say that, yes, indeed, she has delivered. These are the numbers. But when there are no numbers to support the claims you are making,
like Otuan Assistant,
and then the verdict is that there's no proof. And the score is 2 over 10.
I see.
In that area. So the final verdict in this case is that evidence of activity exists, especially on street lights. Not enough public evidence for measurable transformation on flooding, sanitation, chieftaincy and boundary disputes. And the award title, Best Regional Minister, is not forensically safe unless organizers disclose full assessment methodology. She may have worked, yes, she has. She may have even worked hard, but the public record does not yet prove that she was objectively the best. So that is our final verdict.
I see.
Fact-checking the claims she made.
Okay, thank you so much for bringing us this verdict. We're still trying to reconnect to we're working the lines to speak with the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu, because we were billed to speak with her.
Yes.
We've agreed to speak with her. She's agreed to have a conversation with us this morning. So we'll work the lines and connect with her as we speak. We've not been able to reach her. There's some answering challenges, but there's a governance expert who has joined us on the phones right now, and I'm talking about Professor David Abudila. He is a senior governance advisor at the African Parliamentary Network. Prof, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's been interesting the past few hours. In fact, from yesterday, concerning the awards giving to some ministers, some CEOs and others. From a governance point of view, why has the public been reacting the way they are over the public officials awards controversy? Why has it generated such strong public reaction?
It is laughable because, first of all, somebody who's working for the public is a public servant. Does private people come and assess a public servant? It is the public that must assess the public servants. And the reason why the public is very upset is that what is the criteria? Who is this organization? What is their credibility? You know, so it is important that at the end of the day, we must put things in perspective. If you are a Ghanaian and somebody is supposedly doing his best, what is the criteria? Is there any criteria? If I just get up and call one of your colleagues that is at the radio and TV station and say that they are the best, what is the criteria that I use? So I think that is why the public is upset. And at the end of the day, it's all about credibility and transparency. You know, what organization is that? What do they do? What is their track record? You know, just like me. You know, somebody cannot vote me as the best professor. What are my publications? What have I published? What have I written that is important, that brings new knowledge to the sector? So, my brother, that is why they are upset. Ghanaians are not stupid.
I see. Prof, so is the issue here about one particular award, or it's about a deeper problem with how
it's
public...
a deeper problem.
I
Ghanaians are quickly... I mean, having to see a lot of award programs, my issue is who is regulating these organizations? And when you are going to give an award, what is your criteria? Publish it. Let's see. And if you are somebody who is a very an organization that is well known, nobody will say anything. But any mushroom company will get up. They are doing an awards program. I think the next time they will come up with an awards program of who can walk faster than the other. And that is something that people would pay to get. And the other issue that people are upset is that it is paid for. If you want to get it, you pay for. I mean, why? Why would I pay for an award? I won't pay for an award.
That one we're not able to prove or substantiate, so we can put that one aside for a while.
Yeah, you cannot substantiate it, but one of the persons that was going to Mr. Professor Pesa White, you know, said he said it, that he was invited and said he won the award, and they say he should pay 50,000 or sponsor a table. That is payment. He said it. So it is in the public domain.
I see. Prof, my next question to you in terms of public trust and perception is, in governance, how important is public perception when an official accepts an award like this?
No. If you are an official, I think common sense should prevail. You must do your due diligence. That apart, in governance, what is very important is Who is giving the award? What is their credibility? What is the criteria? How many people competed for the award? So again, it has to do with doing the right thing. And it has nothing to do with just one minister. I'm talking about all the public sector organizations, the ministers and the CEOs and all that kind of stuff. You are not there to be judged by the private sector. The public put you there. So what's the issue?
I see. And let me invite into the conversation governance aspect, Dr. Frederick Odren. Prof, I'd like for you to stay on the line. Please hold on for me. Dr. Odren, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
And I'm sure you've paid attention to the conversations that have come from this award ceremony that we saw some members of parliament, ministers, CEOs go there to receive award. My question to you would be that should government publish performance scorecard for ministers and CEOs or agencies so that private individuals who may be minded to confer some awards on these people can do that based on the scorecard or the KPIs?
Well, I mean, that is also one whole conversation we could have on performance assessment or performance evaluation of public sector players. But then going specifically to this issue, that is what brings about the question of credibility of the award. The question arises as to who even has the right to give out some of these awards, because we are not even aware of who is behind it, the criteria they are using for the award. We are not even sure the motive. That also comes into play. What is the motive of these awards, and what is in it for the award given? These are all questions that should engage our minds, because we're talking about governance of the whole country. So if some people have got the profit-making motive, and they can play on the gullibility of some of these individuals, because even the motives of the recipients can also be called into question. So there is a whole lot to do with it beyond just the fact that somebody has planned something to make money out of it. It goes into who is even positioning themselves into getting certain positions in the future and all that. So there's a whole lot to do with this whole matter. But when it comes to performance evaluation of public sector employees, public sector employees, if I can put it that way, it's also another big issue that we need to talk about.
I see.
Because what is the criteria of even saying somebody has performed well and somebody has performed poorly? We should have metrics to measure some of these things, but it seems we don't have it.
So I'm sure you would agree then that the metric that the appointment authority, and I mean the appointer, the president here, whatever standards the president will measure her performance or whoever's performance against, and I'm talking about CEOs, ministers, those metrics should be available to the general public to know themselves so that they can agree or disagree when the minister or anybody responsible is working.
But the question is that, do such metrics even exist? That would be my first question. Do such metrics even exist for particularly the ministers? I don't think there exists any such thing.
I'm sure there are KPIs they are expected to meet, Doc.
I'll be happy to see some of them. Because, and it is not about just those governments. Subsequent governments, I don't ever think, has ever put in place key performance indicators to direct appointees as to what they should be doing. So I am of a firm belief that we don't establish some of these things. And maybe it's about time we go back to establishing these things so that there will be clear criteria for measuring whether people have performed in office or they failed. Otherwise, it will be based on public perception and some ethical indicators, even that will exist only in the minds of whoever is assessing that individual. Because we don't come out and establish clearly that this is what we expect of you. However, when you want to establish what you expect of someone, you should provide them with the adequate tools for them to achieve what you set for them. So it's not just a question of saying you should do A, B, C, D. What are you giving me to also do A, B, C, D? These are all important factors that should come into the conversation.
I see. Let me get back to you, Professor Abdullahi. These are interesting responses that we're getting from the minister herself, clearly defending the award that she has won, and I'm sure the other winners are also thinking they deserve the award. Is there a danger that public office is becoming too ceremonial with these plaques, citations, titles, and photo opportunities competing against real delivery?
First of all, it's face-saving, in my opinion. And these ministers should be ashamed of themselves. First of all, my colleague was just talking about KPIs. I think what we would suggest that the government should do is that the KPIs for each minister should be linked to the budget. And at the end of the day, if they do perform, it is based upon the budget they give to them and how they've been able to use that budget effectively. Secondly, if you are a minister, you are a leader, you should do your homework. There should be a due diligence to know whether this organization that is going to give rewards is credible. You know, when you go to the bank, they ask you for your ID. Why are they doing that? They want to know that you are the person who is coming, the real person who is coming to take the money. It's the same thing with whatever you do. If you say, I'm a professor, whatever I publish, people will check to see that. So at the end of the day, what I want to make very clear is that we as a country, we can never move forward if when you are in a leadership position, you are chasing all these empty laurels. What does that do to you? I mean, at the end of the day, what does that do to you? They say you are the best. What have you done? And what would you prove to show that you have done it? And people are not stupid. You can never fool them. You can say everything. But at the end of the day, they can see through the talk. So those ministers should have a retrospect. And I think the president is right to say that they should stop going to those things and should not be collecting that awards. My brother, how many award shows have you seen in this country? There are so many. Well, who is even regulating them? So I think they should not even push it further. At the end of the day, your work should prove that is the reward and how you are helping the people, because you are there to help the people. How can you you are a public servant serving the public, and now a private company is coming to give you an award that you are the best? I mean, I'm sorry. Private companies don't do things for nothing. There have to be something in it for them. What is in it for them?
I see. Prof, now the presidency has stepped in with a directive. Is it enough, or it's only a temporary reaction to the anger from the public?
It is not enough, but it is good. We need to also educate these ministers and public servants. Education is very important. Change your mindset. You have to understand. I mean, they say you are the best. Do you think you are better than other people? Wasn't she the lady recently who was saying that they would transfer you to the north as punishment? What does that mean? It means that as a leader, even your communication skills are not good enough. So please, I think the president has done something which is okay, but I think it should go beyond that. I will bring education into it. Educate people. Maybe they don't know, you know. If they know, maybe they might not do it again. But if they do it, then there should be punitive measures. And that is, my friend, you serve at my pleasure, you are no more a minister. Period.
I see. And we'll get back to that, Prof. Let me go back to Dr. Drew here. Doc, thank you for staying. We'll take a few steps back. Who should tell Ghanaians that a minister is performing? Is it the appointing authority, a setting independent evaluator somewhere? Should it be Parliament, civil society, or private organizers? Who should tell them? Who should tell us?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it should have come from the appointing authority. I believe it is only the president who can determine whether his ministers are performing or not. Because at the end of the day, we are practicing executive presidency. So the buck stops to the president. If the president is performing overall, it means the people he's put in place are performing. If somebody appointed by the president is not performing, but then that's why when we even talk about KPIs, we should also talk about resources given to the people to perform. Because you can't say these are your KPIs, and then there are no resources to undertake the activities you are supposed to do. So those are issues we need to talk about. But then it comes back to the question of how ingrained some of these, forgive me for saying silly awards exist, even in the media space. You are also part of this kind of scheme. People will come up and talk about best journalist for this, best program, best this, best that, and they say people should go out and vote on them. And when you vote, you pay to vote for these things, and people will go all out. So it is a culture that has seeped into our system across various spheres. Now, sometimes you find even students undertaking some of these competitions, being crowned the best this, the best that, the best that. I think it is silly. And it's seeped into our political arena. And the public servants, ministers, are being awarded some of these things. So it is a problem that has permeated various aspects of our national life that we must do away with. If a media house is good, it will depend on the eyeballs or the listenership you have. That should tell everybody this media house is good. It is not an award scheme that will come and say that this program is the best program or that program is the best program. What we should have is that people would actually appreciate the government. And then when the government is appreciated, then we can delve into which aspect of the national life, which sector is performing so well, and what is that particular minister doing so well that is making that ministry shine. These are the things we should be interested in, but not as to what a private organization comes up to say that I've awarded this person for that. We don't know how they pay for it, or that is why I always talk about motive. What is the motive of the giver, that is the giving institution, and then the recipient? Because people have taken newspaper advertising awards that are purported to have been given to some of these people. So that is where the question and the problem lie.
I see. Now, Doc, now to the reaction of government to the latest development. We've seen the step that government is taking, that the directive to ministers, CEOs, and others. Do you think that is enough as well?
Oh, for now, I think, to start with, I think it is enough. It puts a stop to the facade that has been going on for a number of years. This does not start today. Let's not delude ourselves. It's been going on for a long, and it doesn't start only with the ministers and the likes. It permeates various facets of our lives. But I think this is a very good start. But first, I would hope it will send a message to those people who have been organizing such awards that people have now seen through them. and they will not even continue. And if somebody continues, and then a public servant endorses these things, I am hoping the appropriate sanction will be given to that individual. And that should send a firm warning to people not to dabble in this unnecessaries. So I think it's a good start. I don't have any. I'm very happy that the directive has come, and I think it's a good thing. And it will actually call to question whoever attempts to do something similar. So it is good.
Right, Doc, and allow me, I have this question on my mind that there may be some ministers or some CEOs who genuinely may be working so hard, and based on how they are or their temperament, if you like, or their personalities, they may need some or want some recognition to ginger them to do more. Where should a recognition like that, where should it come from?
You see, if we want to do something of this nature, I mean, let credible institutions put in place a system for doing that. I mean, once upon a time, I think it was it Odikro? Odikro also was doing something for parliamentarians. And clear metrics were established. Presence in the chamber, contribution to debates, and the like. It was quite credible. And then Odikro would now also go and organize fanfares and would not ask anybody to come and sit at a plus hotel and organize big forums and ask people to buy tables and the like. They'll just do their thing and they'll publish it. And for those of us who are interested in governance, we're taking keen interest in what Odikro was doing there. For some time now, I've not heard them continuing with that. And nobody was questioning the credibility of their assessment, because indeed they showed the metrics they were using. So I think I do not have any major problem with anyone who wants to do this thing. But I would want people to actually, yes, let's put a line under this and move on as a country. But if anybody attempts to bring it back, then we should all be up in arms and chase them out of the system.
Dr. Odro, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us on the program.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. Dr. Frederick Odro is a governance expert, but Professor David Abdullahi is still also on the line with me. Prof, I'll take your final words on this one. Beyond what the President has said through his secretary in relation to this award, Brohaha, what more do we need to do as a country, bearing in mind the need to properly recognize or appreciate hardworking people, and how not to take that as an opportunity to include aspects that do not fit, or to include criteria that just does not exist?
The first thing I want to say is that there's a French saying that le sel ne dit pas je suis bon. Salt doesn't say I'm good. If you are good, people will know, people will see. So you don't have to go and buy laurels to do that. Secondly, I would recommend that moving forward, the government or subsequent governments should come up with a matrix which would be like for the KPIs of each minister. And those then are linked to the budget, whereby, of course, a budget line is given for some of the things you have to do. And that can easily be checked. And the government can see if somebody's working. If I give you a budget of $100, for example, or 100 cedis, and you don't spend it and nothing is done, don't tell me, I don't have to tell anybody that you didn't perform. I'm going to take the money back. And then I'll look for somebody who can spend the money effectively. So I'm saying beyond that, the third part, and I'll end here, is education. You know, we always forget that the mere fact that somebody's aged, about 50 or 40 or whatever, and you are a minister, that doesn't mean that you are well educated. I'm not talking about having academic laurels, about real education, understanding things. Anyone who's well educated would have said, which organization is this? You know, what is their credibility in awarding these awards. And before you even accept it.
I see.
So that is what I think is very important moving forward.
Right. And my last question, Prof, is if we're looking at the broader picture, there are a lot of award schemes we have in the country. Should we use this as an opportunity to sort of attempt to regulate some of these award schemes to extend away from what is happening?
Exactly. They have to register, pay their requisite taxes, and whatever they do must be transparent. Not only must it be transparent, it builds the credibility. So if you are giving me such an award, then I'll say, no, I'm not interested. Why? Because I don't think you have credibility. So, think about it. Without credibility, you are just any other, what do you call it? So please, I think you just hit the nail on the head. The government should come up with a way of regulating them. Maybe there should be a certain part of government machinery that regulates all these awards. There are so many. Before you realize, somebody will be coming up with the best jollof making whatever. Anyway, my brother, don't let me go there, because at the end of the day, I look at some of the things happening in our country, and you are asking yourself, these are not just people because they have academic laurels and they are in positions of responsibility, that they cannot think to see that when something is not right, it's not right.
Rosa Abdullah, I'm grateful for your time with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Professor David Abdullah is a senior governance advisor at the African Parliamentary Network, speaking with us there. And Kay, you've heard from these governance analysts raising some critical concerns, and it's all coming from this particular award scheme. Asking the last question about whether or not then this presents an opportunity for some level of regulation in the various schemes that we have. If we do, there's a lot. And then how are we able to, how do we do it? How do we do anything about this?
Crosby, if you look at what we have within our space now as a country, there's a quiet industry that's emerging. And it's not in mining or fintech or real estate. It's awards.
Yes.
Another gala, another red carpet, most influential, outstanding, excellence, 40 under 40, top 100. Off the top of your head, Crosby, you can mention a lot. And at this rate, Ghana may soon have more award winners than measurable achievements. And I think that's what the problem is. So let's look at the Madame Lindo Clue controversy and the Madame Lindo Clue and the award controversy.
Right.
And the organizers put up a defense. But if we look at their defense, if we do a forensic test on what they claim, is their solid foundation. The awards celebrate excellence in public service. No doubt. That is clear. That's why they call it the Excellence Awards or of a sort. But how is excellence measured in the public service?
Ghana Minister of State Excellence Award.
Yes. How is the excellence measured? No published methodology, no scoring matrix or benchmark provided. So it's an unproven case for that particular point A.
So then for the organizers of any award ceremony,
yes,
let us know. We're not saying don't organize it.
Yes.
Let us know what you are measuring, how you arrived at the decision you have arrived.
Exactly.
If it's votes, tell us it.
How is excellence measured?
Exactly. That, okay, this minister, we have access to your KPI. Your KPI is to do A, B, C, D.
Yes.
You have done A, B, C.
Yes.
Based on the A, B, C, you have not done D. So if we're comparing you against other ministers in that same area who have done A, B, you have gone another step further, you have done C. Based on that, you are the best performing minister. Then we are okay. Then we'll not come and talk about you.
Yes, because, data doesn't lie. There's another defense that the platform has operated for years.
They say for 7 years.
For 7 years. But Crosby,
it was launched 7 years
does longevity prove credibility? I don't want to say it in my local parlance, but usually we say there are 80-year-old men who sometimes behave in a way that makes you question if they are indeed elders.
But how do you say it in your local parlance?
Because you want people to come for me. Good morning, Goldie. I'm sure she's listening. She wouldn't want me to say that, because when we usually say that in the local parlance, we add Sebi.
That's something this Sebi counts in. But
so I think for longevity doesn't prove credibility. The fact that you've had a company that has been registered since 2015 or 2013 does not mean to date it is still a credible company. So the long existence does not automatically validate assessment quality.
Right.
So that's a very weak defense. And then we look at the recognition. Recognition is based on notable contributions. Which contributions? Crosby, how are these contributions measured? There's no evidence showing quantified assessment criteria. So the verdict is that with that particular point they made in their letter is unverified. They go on to say public institutions and stakeholders are engaged. Were they involved in judging? Yeah, because no documentation has shown their role in selection.
And which institutions and which stakeholders?
Yes, what public institutions and what stakeholders? So he says SEGA was approached because of its governance mandate. But does SEGA assess winners in an award scheme?
Well, maybe if these SOEs report to them, kind of, then they would have a better measuring tape against their performance.
But according to Professor Pesa White, the boss of SEGA, he's saying that he was engaged and made an offer to pay 50,000 Ghana cedis or 25,000 Ghana cedis. So clearly they did not engage SEGA, because I'll take his word over what these guys are saying.
They do not engage SEGA in their capacity to verify the winners or something. They engage SEGA to come and win something.
They should have engaged SEGA to participate in evaluation.
Right.
So that's a very ambiguous one over there. They say SEGA support was unrelated to award selection. Can this be independently verified?
As we speak, no.
Professor Pesa White has shared otherwise. No published engagement documents or governance protocols. So when you speak to that, when you make that defense, you are only subjecting yourself to a lot of awards are not conditional on sponsorship. Was there a separation between fundraising and selection? What firewall mechanism was used? Was the firewall mechanism disclosed? It wasn't.
So
there's a credibility gap right there.
Yes. They could have been very distinct, very clear.
Yes.
That we are giving you have won this award. That's separate from. However, we need sponsorship. This is not tied. One is not dependent on the other. You're not getting the award because you are sponsoring. You're not getting the award because you are buying a table. If you are that distinct, then we can have a proper conversation.
And then they say no financial contribution is required to win. But then it makes me ask, then why were sponsorship packages discussed as with prospective awardees?
Again, they put the two together.
The one who is supposed to receive the award is the same person you are asking for sponsorship. There's a conflict of interest. Those questions remain unanswered publicly. And they go on to say recognition decisions are independent. Independent according to what governance framework? What governance framework? You are judging a public institution. Do you know their KPIs? So on what basis are you saying that you have adjudged this person best winner of this and that and that and that? Where is your foundation? It's a no case. they go on to say past recipients included respected personalities. But weren't we in this country when we saw Dr. UN? Con a lot of prominent, respected personalities in the name of awards. We were in this country when we saw it. So if you say past recipients included respected personalities, does recipient reputation validate the process?
I'm just reading the list of
it does not.
UN award winners.
It does not add value to the allegations we are leveling against them that
at all.
It's a rigged award scheme. It's a bogus award scheme, and such things should not be encouraged. You know, because no credibility comes from methodology, not recipients. It's as you can see there. And we also have them say leadership and innovation are recognized. How were leadership and innovation scored?
How do you measure it?
No indicators were disclosed. We go on to, they say awards cover ministries, SOEs, and public institutions. How were different sectors compared?
Yeah.
We haven't seen any comparative framework published, so the methodology still remains missing. They go for what looks like the obvious, but maybe when subjected to forensic proof, may not meet what looks like the obvious. They say Kasil Atoforsen, our finance minister, who has earned the popular nickname Ato is Forcing, because everyone says for him to have taken Ghana from where it was 8 years ago into where we are now, you know, even though things are not as we would wish, it's a bit better than it used to be. So we've celebrated him a lot. So they say he was the overall best minister. But our personal feelings and sentiments does not validate. So against which ministers and by what score did Ato Forcing become the overall best minister? No rankings or comparative assessment has been published.
Exactly.
It also goes on to say Linda Oklu was best regional minister. Against which regional ministers and by what metrics? No scorecard, ranking table, or performance data published. Because in my view, you know the best performing regional minister.
Tell me, the Ashanti region?
Of course. Of course. We look at awards encourage accountability. Can the public audit the awards? If the public cannot audit your awards, then how does it encourage accountability? No public audit trail exists. So that's a contradiction. They say awards promote measurable impact. Where are the measurements? Measurements have not been published. And you say awards promote measurable impact. That's another contradiction right there. And then they talk of recognition decisions are objective. Where is the evidence of objectivity? No objective framework has been disclosed. It hasn't been demonstrated. They go on to say awards are nationally respected. Respect is not a substitute for transparency. Public trust requires evidence. So that point is insufficient. And then they go on to say organizers acted in good faith. But is good faith enough? Good faith cannot replace verifiable methodology. That's a very weak defense. Then they say again, the scheme contributes to national development. Does recognition correlate with measurable outcomes? No evidence presented. And you say your scheme contributes to national development. How has this added to national development? This is a national embarrassment, not a national development. Look, we can go on and on and on, but I would sum it up here that do the organizers provide full transparency and verifiable data? Scorecard, judges, nominees, rankings, data sources, methodology, audit trail, funding transparency. Are those things public information we can access? They should look at the global benchmarks if they don't have anything locally to rely on. They should look at Ghana's Most Beautiful and how it's organized. They should look at what do you call it? The GIJ. You know, they have is it GJA?
GJA. Yes.
GJA.
Yeah.
They have an awards scheme as well.
And
they should look at the likes of.
They tell you the criteria
Yes.
you should meet. They tell you who is on the board, who is measuring what, and all of that.
Even with those awards, Ghanaians are unsatisfied.
Yeah.
We believe. I'm one of those who believe that most of those things are rigged. You know, so when we come to the forensic scorecard, you know, published scoring matrix, no. Published assessment methodology, no. Published judge panel, no. Published nominee list, no. Published ranking table, no. Published data sources, published conflict of interest policy, published audit of results, published funding transparency, published evaluation period, all a big no. So if we subject them to strict forensic proof, the final forensic verdict will be, did the organizers defend their reputation? Of course they will. They will. Did they explain their intentions? Of course they did. They did. Did they publish evidence proving the winners were objectively the best? No. They didn't. Did they publish a methodology capable of independent verification? No. They didn't. Does the statement eliminate the controversy? No. So what remains missing is the scorecard, judges, nominees, rankings, data sources, methodology, audit trail, and the funding transparency. That is our verdict on their defense.
Coming from His Excellency K. Kujo. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands for him. Put your hands together for him.
Sunrise.
I said, clap your hands, clap your hands. And K, thank you. This is nice. Thank you. They have done the people dirty power. Oh, K. Kujo. This is still Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Time check is some 19 minutes after 9. We'll take a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we'll delve into some other developments in the country. But we also need to let you know that we were scheduled to speak with Madame Linda Oklu, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, one of the award winners at the just ended Ghana Excellence Award. Ghana State Excellence, right, at the just ended award. She's one of the winners. We're built to speak with her, but unfortunately, she's not answering our calls as we speak. Hopefully she will before the program ends. If that happens, we'll attempt to squeeze in a few minutes and have that conversation with her. So stay with us on Sunrise. Don't go anywhere, because we'll talk about some other very interesting and rather disturbing things. We're talking about Ghana's building collapse crisis. Who is failing Ghanaians, developers, engineers, or regulators? Stay with us. Anthem celebrating resilience, unity, and the limitless potential of Africans. The word Chana means shine. You know that Samini is a Dagati man, so it's in the Dagati language. Shana means shine. The song's core themes: African unity, cultural pride. There are also elements of motivation in that. Samini calls this Chana. Enjoy it for a few more seconds, and then we'll talk about some other very interesting and disturbing issues about Ghana.
3FM Sunrise.
Sunrise on 3FM. 3FM 92.7.
Tonight, this is still Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. It's been a rainy, wet morning in parts of the capital. This morning, we told you about the weather warning from Ghana Met about a moderate rainstorm currently over Togo and Benin that was expected to move steadily westward across Ghana, inducing cloudiness and producing thunderstorms with or without rain of varying intensities over parts of the country. So it's raining in parts of the capital. The rainstorm may be accompanied by moderate to strong winds. Localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas are likely to occur. What is the situation and where you find yourself? A few minutes of rain. Is your area beginning to flood already? We'd like to hear from you. You can join us on our Facebook stream, 3FM 927. Drop your comments there. Let's see what the situation is. There's also the warning to fisherfolk and motorists that we are being urged to exercise extreme caution during this period. So if you are on the road as we speak, just be careful. Reduce your speed. Put your lights on. You know what happens to the road when it rains. The relationship between your car tire and the surface of the road. Just be careful. To those of you who do not like the cold weather, dress appropriately. Just protect yourself. Let's turn our attention to a matter of life, death, and public safety. We're talking about Ghana's building collapse crisis. In the last few days, we've seen buildings come down in parts of Accra, and each collapse is leaving behind the same painful questions. Who approved it? Who designed it? Who supervised it? Who ignored the warnings and who looked away? Because buildings, sometimes they just do not collapse overnight. Most of the time, they collapse after a long chain of failure, a long chain of failure. A developer may decide to build without the right permit, change the original plan, add an extra floor, cut corners on materials, or ignore a stop work order. And these things that I just told you, we understand they were present during the Adenta building collapse. And that is from the preliminary investigations by a team of engineers, a joint team of engineers. Also, an engineer and architect may fail to supervise properly, lend their name to a project they are not actively monitoring, or allow construction to continue even when the structure is unsafe. There's also the regulator in the equation. The assembly, the planning authority, the building inspector. They may issue notices but fail to enforce them. And when enforcement is weak, a stop work order becomes just another piece of paper. Nobody will really listen to that, will they? So this morning we're asking a very, very simple question. Who is failing Ghanaians? Is it the developer who is chasing profit and speed? Is it the engineer or the architect who should know better? Or it is the regulator who has the legal power to stop danger before it becomes a disaster? Because when a building collapses, it is not just concrete that suffers. The people, the families, tenants, workers, children, neighbors, emergency responders. During the recent building collapse, they've been there for hours. They spent hours there. And if we keep calling these incidents accidents, we may never confront the system that allows them to happen. A simple question this morning. Are Ghana's building collapsing because developers are reckless, because professionals are compromised, or regulators are sleeping on the job? Or a combination of these factors? Engineer Prince Cass Avotri is the Executive Secretary of the Structural Subgroup of Ghana Institution of Engineering, as well as Engineer Abdullah Mahama. He's a building and a road consultant. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Good morning.
I'll start with you. I'll start with you, Prince. And it will be the question that I just spoke about. Is it a combination of factors that we're seeing in relation to Ghana's building collapsing? Is it because developers are reckless? Is it because professionals are compromised, or it's because regulators are simply sleeping on the job?
Well, I would like to separate them into three parts because it could be a combination of either one or two of them, but I would like to break them down. For a start, I would say from the collapse you've seen, most of the buildings you've seen, we've not had evidence that professional engineers they have designed or they have engineered such structures. So in that regard, we may be able to excuse them a bit with relational to the collapse we are seeing. That does not absolve us purely from all that is happening. And I'll take it from the regulators' aspect. I think the state, which by extension I mean the regulators, have a mandate to protect its citizens and is mandated to put out laws and enforce laws, so all of us will be compliant. So there are no excuses if enforcement are not done, and then we put the blame to citizens for not following procedures or following the law. That is on the other aspect as well. But in the absence of regulatory enforcement, I think we people or we citizens of the country also must also follow the right way of doing things if we are not being policed. I think that's how I can give my preliminary comments.
See, and I'll come to you, Engineer Abdullah, also on the same question. What do you think is accounting for what we're seeing right now?
Well, I say good morning to your cherished listeners and viewers. And good morning to my colleague, professional. He was just saying maybe one or two of them, and I'll just say the question you asked, it's a combination of the three and even more. One of them may be that, let me even take you and I as an example. I think we've had extensive education on how buildings are supposed to be constructed and who you are supposed to fall on to start a building. Let's assume that there's not even a regulator. Let's assume so. As an individual who has invested so much, or you have saved a lot to put up a structure for your family, when you are not well and you get to the hospital, a doctor who's a professional may take your sample, blood samples, after interrogating you or asking you a few questions, and then give it to a lab to run the test. When the results are out, based on the outcome of the results, he administers medication for you. When it comes to buildings, when it comes to structures, the doctors are the engineers who are speaking to you. How many times haven't we seen people taking their lives into their own hands and then doing their own foundations on their own, or with some 2-3 masons in their area to put up buildings for them without recourse to engineers who are specialized in that particular field? When it comes to the regulators as well, there are 1,001 laws at the Assembly where every building which is situated in Ghana is sitting on an assembly area. Every building belongs to a certain assembly. So when you look at the regulation, the Land Use and Special Planning Act of 2016, it beholds that every individual who has an interest or an intention to put up a structure, 113 says that you have to go to the assembly and then make your intentions known. Because without that, they wouldn't know. Because the eyes of the assembly may not be everywhere at the same time. Because we all hear when they come out with their challenges of mobility and other things, financial, to even get diesel or fuel into their trucks to move around. And some of the areas are so secluded that it may come to them at a surprise at a point. So, in as much as we would want to situate the collapse of building, which I'm sure we're going to go into the technicalities, I'm just giving you an overview of where responsibilities are supposed to be. The first thing is that the individual who is put out the building has a main role to play. And that is not what we normally see. Others may unfortunately play the role, but they fall in the hands of quack or very unprofessionals who may lead them and then eventually have some of these calamities coming, befalling them. And what are the measures we see after these buildings unfortunately collapses? Do we get closure to some of these things? And then how does it deter somebody who is not me and my colleague on the platform right now discussing with you to own up and say that I'm an engineer when the person doesn't have any practice? So that's just the basics, but we'll go into the details as the discussion goes ahead. Thank you very much.
I see. And let me come back to you, Prince. You have been part of the team that investigated the Adenta building collapse, and that is one of the building collapses we've had in the country. There's a report that is out concerning the preliminary findings. Walk us through some of the findings based on the investigation.
Well, I think emphasis must be placed on preliminary because
Exactly.
we've not done a detailed investigation of these two sites with regards to Adenta and Aveno. But from when we went to the site, what we basically seen was a foundation that, from the initial looks as experts, it's a foundation that was meant for a single story with regards to Adenta. And then we saw a continuation of that without recourse to engineering. And then we saw some elements of the structure also not well laid out. And of course, the quality that we saw also was a bit from the face of the eye as an expert looks a bit compromised. But detailed investigations will be done when we get the test results from the labs, because we took some samples to the labs as well. So we can get the actual strength of these materials. Then we probably can try and see whether we can model or look at exactly what might have caused the collapse. So this is almost similar to what we were seeing in Aveno as well, because we also were able to expose some of the foundations that we went to Aveno. And it's almost similar in nature with the cause of collapse to what we experienced in Adenta.
And the findings you've made from the preliminary findings you've made from these building collapses, does it come as a surprise to you?
No, it's not. It's sadly to say that I don't need to sound like a professor, but within our professional spheres, I think most of us have always been complaining, and we've been agitating on policy direction with regards to our space infrastructure, not just only on buildings, flats, management. Every time there's always a lecture, there are always policy documents that are shared with agencies. And it looks like generally our populace, those are not important discussions we need to be having on our highways. But that's almost the fiber of our society. That's
when you say it does not surprise you, it means or the institution is aware of some other buildings in the capital that are also not meeting specifications?
Yes, from our point, one interesting thing about buildings or as professionals is that just by looking at some things, we can't draw conclusion that it's bad or it's not stable. What it means is that there must be an access to it. There must be a thorough investigation, what we call a structural integrity test, run on all these things before it can come out with a definite conclusion to identify that a building has a building is not fit for purpose and hence it might collapse. So I need to put that out clearly.
I see. Please hold on the line for me. Let me go back to Engineer Abdullahi on this. Engineer Abdullahi, thank you for staying. If we're still talking about the work of engineering, if we're moving away from buildings to the roads, you are also a roads engineer. And in a period like this, we see a lot of floods, particularly on the road. Does it have to do with the way that our roads are constructed here in Accra? For instance, a major road like around the Legon Road, around 37, even somewhere around Jubilee House, whenever it rains, there are big roads, Fiesta Royal, that are flooded. Does it have to do with how these roads are constructed?
All right, so let me just say one other thing before I move on. Remember 2020, just to corroborate what Engineer Prince was saying, I said most buildings in Accra, most story buildings in Accra are standing by the grace of God. People didn't understand that caption that went viral. And that is what we are seeing. So he is not surprised. I'm not surprised. You can just be driving through Accra. You look at some buildings, even with a vision, visualize some buildings, and you can know that these buildings may not survive the test of time. And especially where people tend to change the purpose of a building. Engineer Prince will do a very good design, say a 2-story building. That was the narrative or the description was given to him. The same design is competent to stand any load that was done at the time T. This design is submitted to the assembly, and based on that, permit is issued for the construction of the building like that. The owner goes to start sometime because he doesn't engage any other person. He goes to the mason to start a building for him. Even though the assembly is supposed to periodically go and assess what they have approved for the building to be constructed, maybe in the absence that they don't move to those areas. When these buildings are being constructed, the person feels like, this area is a business potential area. He does a 2-story building. He continues with another 3rd one and another 4th one. So engineer players will go to like Adenta or Medina where the building collapsed and know that this design was for a 1-story building or a 2-story building. However, they are seeing a 4-story building. That means that we have changed the purpose of the structure. Now let me come to the roads. I refuted some claims last week on, I think, Channel 1, one of the stations, and what I said was that some of the road, let's just say the example I gave, I said like Simple, Atimota Forest to Fiesta Drive, because you mentioned the place. And then this road was constructed in 2010 to 2011, 2012, the MEDA project, Millennium Development Authority. Yeah. Now, when this road was constructed, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8 years, the road was not flooding. How come the 9th year and the 10th year suddenly the road start to flood beyond normal? It may be that just within the corridor where the design was done to reasonably discharge, the word is reasonably discharge the water runoffs to a point, a logical point, there has been obstructions of structures or other activities that is hindering the discharge process of this water. So it couldn't just be that at the 8th or the 9th year that the road started to flood, you may question the work that was done by the contractor or the engineer at the time. Because before a road is done, all the sizing of the drains, the culvert, is not just done in absentia. They take the data, the topography of the area, the catchment area, that they expect that where the adjoining land are either sloping towards the road or sloping backwards, meaning that they are moving off the road. This data is all captured by the hydrological engineer or the engineer you have who is mandated or assigned for this particular activity. They go in to pick data from hydrology, the hydrological authority. They move to go for the weather pattern on the GMET, Ghana Meteorological Authority, previous records of rains and anticipated records of rains, that projected rains that will come in. So if the road is designed for a 25 or 50 design, all those are factored. And the same data that I will use in Ghana to do my sizing of my drains or my culvert is the same data that I will be using in UK, using US, whatever, because the document or the form do not change so necessarily. So when the engineer does all these things and is vetted through the process and approval is given before the roads are constructed, I'm talking about the ones that at least have been privy to or have been part of these huge highways. And so if there are waters inundating the roads eventually, we'll have to look at other causes that may have necessitated the flooding. Moreover, you know that every road that you are doing, once you are doing a road, what it means is that you are increasing you are reducing the infiltration of the bare land. What it means is that once you are doing a road, it becomes impervious. You can't have water to filter through the road towards the ground. So the more we are doing infrastructure, the lesser the area for infiltration. But that is why you size your culvert, you size your drains to be able to carry the water to a logical or reasonable discharge point. So these are all the things that engineers do before. I must admit that some roads have question mark designs anyway, but the ones at least I'm concerned, the vetting, the presentation, the deductions you do before it's confirmed and approved for you to undertake the project is not something which is just done by the meaning of a person to just go in and just conjecture and start the construction of such facilities.
I see. Engineer, and thank you for that submission. I'll come back to you in a moment for your final words on the subject. But back to you, Engineer Prince. If we're looking at the way forward in all of this, particularly in a season like this, what should we do concerning our buildings, the high-rise buildings we have in the country? And you can extend the conversation to the roads if you want to.
Okay, so what we are putting together as an institution, and then I'm sure in the coming few days you will get a full handle on what we are putting up. We are trying to put out a policy proposal that will give a great figure to almost every building owner, or that even including state and corporate organizations that own structures that are not engineered or regularized or have permits, that opportunity will be given to them to seek professionals to assess those structures. And then after assessment, they provide drawings to cover them, and then a retroactive permit is given to them. And the ones that goes beyond savings, and then demolition order is being applied to bring them down before we continue accumulating this collapse. That's one of them. The other aspect also is we are looking at also helping the MMDAs rigorously enforce inspection of construction sites, and also prohibiting concrete weapons excavation, and fundamental requirements are verified by the assembly engineers after permit is given. Then we're also looking at coming back to our wonderful laws in terms of structural and infrastructure development with regards to spatial planning. We have wonderful laws that kind of make room for provisions of situation there. So, for example, if you buy a normal 70 feet by 70 feet plot for a less urban area, the law says that you should leave close to about 60% or 50% of your area unpaid. That includes car parks. So that means your building and car parks take about 50% of your land. And if it's in a very urbanized area, those variations go down to about 40% or so. And if we enforce these laws, because if you buy your whole land, you put up a structure and you pave the whole surface area with concrete, the runoff water finds its way into our undersized drains, with our drains that would have served its purpose if those rapid developments were not there, like Engineer Abdullah have highlighted with regards to that. So we need to go back as individuals, as enforcing agencies, as professionals, to go back to these wonderful laws that we have. Once we go through this channel, so we will not be hearing this catastrophic events happening loss of properties and lives.
Engineer Prince Kasabotri, thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
We're speaking with Engineer Prince Kasabotri. There is the Executive Secretary of the Structural Subgroup of Ghana Institution of Engineering there. Engineer Abdullahi Mahama is still on the line with me. Engineer, let me take your final words, like I said. Again, on what to do going forward, briefly.
If we see something, say something. We see buildings in our area that we have doubt about how they are being constructed. Please make it official by writing to the local assembly. Let it be documented so that I'm sure that when, based on documents that have been submitted, they may pick it up. And at least there are media outlets that you can always fall on. I think what we are scared of is the cameras. When the cameras are used, things are minimized. So let's ensure that when we see things within our area and it's so much of a question, let's try to contact the nearest institution that are mandated. The other thing is that when you see cracks developing on your columns, your beams, your building is sagging. The buildings are not designed to be horizontal, to be sagging. They are supposed to be either vertical and horizontal. You might have architectural designs, but when your columns start to give cracks and you see your columns, your iron rods being exposed, you have to ensure that you call in an expert to come and quickly look at the buildings for you to do a structural integrity. One of the fears is that people feel like when these things are conducted, the buildings are going to be demolished. No. There's something we call retrofitting. What it means is that if they come and the expert come and assess your building and they identify some portions of the building to be weak, they can propose a technical solution for you where they will retrofit the building to bring it, to reinforce the building to structurally be sound for you to still cohabit your building. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time with us. Engineer Abdullahi Mahama is a building and a road consultant as well, speaking to us there. Well, that conversation was on our roads and the buildings we have in the country in the rainy season, linking it to floods as well. Okay, I don't know whether you would want to add anything before we go.
Yes, Crosby. I mean, it's been an awesome Tuesday. With regards to this conversation, I think it's unfortunate Ghana doesn't have a national construction authority like some of us have seen in Kenya.
A national construction authority.
Yes,
their
because
role would be what?
The oversight, the construction oversight in the country is overly fragmented across metropolitan, municipal, but let me just put the MMDAs and works departments, physical planning departments, building inspectorate units, Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources, and the likes. It's fragmented, so a clear enforcement is usually very difficult. Because you have one person doing it all, and usually that creates the oversimplification we see. This person goes for a license from the same person. He's issued a permit from the same person. He's supervised by the same person, and as much as it's fragmented, there's no interconnectedness. So when they put up their buildings, or when facilities spring up across the country, in waterways, I think one of the basic questions we always ask is, how did they come by the permit? And maybe they should also start organizing themselves to take legal action, because if they are taking legal action against who issued the permit, is the one who issued the permit who should be liable. You are not an engineer. You are not a structural engineer.
Yeah.
So how do you know that where you are building is not fit for purpose if you have been issued a permit? A permit means license to build.
True.
So if there's a license to demolish, that means you built at the wrong place. Then you should go to the one who issued you the license to build, and they must be liable for your losses.
True.
Makes I think Ghanaians or people living in Ghana who are, building a lot should consider some of these things. It's important that the license is not enough, you know. Do some veranda boys research, and then let's understand what's really going on the ground, and we take it from there. So Crosby, that's just in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you so much. And it sums the conversation up. You again, back in your ear, on your TV, on your phone. Again tomorrow at 6 a.m. My name is Noble Crosby Anna. Thank you so much. News of 10 is up next with Christabel Sanchez Trevor. Have a good one.
With me, Christabel Success Treve. 15 more buildings with varying degrees of structural integrity will be demolished in the coming days in the capital, Accra. 1 out of a total of 16 buildings earmarked for demolition have been demolished. And the Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly says occupants of the dilapidated 4-story building had defined eviction notices until portions of the facility collapsed following Sunday's downpour. Here's a report by George Quaining.
The Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly Kokma on Monday, June 8, moved in to demolish the dilapidated structure after several failed attempts to eject its occupants. The impact of Sunday's downpour compelled the occupants to move out after portions of the building collapsed. The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, says 50 more of such buildings will be demolished in the coming days.
From here, we'll continue with the others that are not safe for people to occupy.
What do you mean others? Yeah.
Yes, in Accra. 15. Yes, we have about 6 at Wejagbari that we have earmarked. So from after this one, we'll move to Wejagbari, and then we'll start to do all those things. And all these structures were being occupied by tenants. Unfortunately, the landlords do not live there. So they were rented properties. So as we speak, the Weja, 3 of the properties are ready to undergo the demolition because all the occupants has evacuated.
Well, that's a report by George Quaining, ending the news update at 10 with me, Christabel Success Trevor. Please log on to our website for more stories and more updates. 3 Lounge is up next.
Your finest tunes in sync with a soothing voice. 3 Lounge with AJ.
Are you tired of the same old routine? Need a break from the stress and chaos of everyday life? Well, step into the 3 Lounge, your world of absolute relaxation and great music with yours truly, AJ Aqua.